Hola, yuppie, everybody. Good evening. Happy New Year, everyone. It's my first stream of 2022. How was everybody's New Year? Was it good? Did you do a lot of bang? A lot of boom? I hope you did, because we had some fireworks over here that were so powerful it rumbled the ground. It's cool. Alright. Oh man. I need to get back in the game after my vacation, but... Okay, chat. I hope those who have been waiting all this time... So, since it has been a while since I last reread Umineko, I'm gonna give everybody a quick recap before I start. As usual, from... So, I started episode 3 last time, before 2021 ended. And so far we had a bit of background story of with Eva. How her sexist family wouldn't just let her be family head, even though she's far more competent than Klaus. Sorry, the gute Klaus. Kinzo doesn't like her. People are now suspecting more about this affair that Kinzo has. And now Eva is taking Beatrice's letter about the epitaph like a challenge, and from what it looks like, it's gonna be an Eva POV chapter this time. Also, they introduced a new character who kinda looks my real life boyfriend, and it's... bruh. I don't know how to handle. As if simping for Beatrice wasn't enough. Wait, just got top audio a little bit loud. There we go.
魔女じゃなく、ベアトリーチェという名の愛人が島に存在していたわけか。つまり、人間は18人以上いる。ということは、18人全員に不可能だから魔法犯罪であるという図式は崩せるわけだ。
Starting off with Battler conspiracy theories, I see. Oh, Battler, how I missed this. Oh, there he is! There he is! Sir, could you make me some tea? Yes, I would like some black tea and some cookies. Sir? Sir? Oh my god! Excuse me! I don't have a blushing toggle yet. Beato's butler, who called himself Ronove, I kept mispronouncing his name last time, by the way. It's not Ronove, it's Ronove. Appeared out of nowhere. A plate set on a silver tray that he held was filled with delicious looking steamy black tea and cookies. I really don't like this guy's smile. You have bad taste, Batter, how dare you? For some reason, it doesn't look like a smile used to warmly greet a guest. What are you talking about? This is the softest smile on earth. On the metaverse, you see. It feels like he's mocking me somehow. Okay, that's deserved. I don't know if he really takes me for an idiot. Or if it's just a joke or something, but it's really irritating me. Well, Battler, guess you're just jealous that you don't have the drip. Good, all for me then! I want the tea and the cookies! Give it to me. Give it to me then!
人間ごときにはもったいないくらいに素敵に焼き上がった。それは素敵なクッキーなのに。
気が向いたら食ってやるぜ。その辺に置いて、とっとと失せな。
さようでございますか。それではそのようにいたしますよ。冷めてからお召し上がりになって焼きたてを召し上がらなかったことを存分に後悔なされると良いでしょ
う。いちいちうるさいやつだな。
No, he's giving you the best of service.
まあ耳元で気色悪くケラケラ笑うベアトのやつよりゃ数段マシだがよ。
But she has a beautiful laugh. What's wrong with
いいえ、
you?
まったく。
Look at that.
お嬢様の笑い声は時
Who
折
wouldn't want a
実
butler
に
like
品
that?
がありません。それを聞くたびに、なぜ私ほどの高貴な悪魔があのようなものを主にしなければならないのか、
I mean,
理解に苦しむのでございますよ。
you have your reasons. What a take, saying Beatrice's laughter is undignified. It's like the best.
そんなに嫌なら使えなきゃいいだろうが。
So Butler is the type that if you complain about your boss, he's the type to be like, then just quit. Easy.
それでもなおお使いするのが家具の喜びなのでございますよ。それでなくては家具は務まりません。それはさておき、ゲームの方はいかがでございますか。先ほど良い情報を見つけたようなことを言われ、お喜びになられていたようですが、さてさて、
Sorry.
どのような朝知恵が思いついたやら。
As Ronove mocked me and giggled, he giggled? Help. And he followed my earlier words literally and placed the black tea and cookies in a random spot nearby.
お方、19人目の存在に自信を深めたからでございましょう。よろしければぜひご考説をお聞かせ願いますか。
I'm going to die from this character.
ああ、いいぜ。どうせベアトの前で改めて言うしな。隠す必要もないさ。いいか、この島に隠し屋敷があって愛人を住まわせていたらしいんだ。
Oh yeah, right. They were discussing this hidden mansion thing last time.
となりゃ俺を苦しめてきた18人なのか19人なのかって疑問は簡単に決着する。
マトラ様は魔女を否定するくせに、18人の中にも犯人を求められないダブルスタンダードの袋小路に自らを追い込まれました。
魔女を否定する最も簡単な方法は18人の誰かを疑うことだ。18人全員のアリバイはそう簡単には揃わない。
You don't say. It's 18 people.
常に一人くらいは。
So you're going to make yourself harder by making it more than 19?
俺はそいつを生贄にすることで常に魔女を否定し続けることもできる。
Little Bunny Ruru, thank you for the follow. I hope you enjoy your stay. Hi Kaninari, Happy New Year to you too. I hope you had a good one.
しかしそれは断固拒否する。ああ、ダメだぜ。全然ダメだ。
The stream started at the perfect spot. Me immediately thirsting for the boy
18
Ronove.
人はみんな俺にとって親たちや親戚たちやいとこたち、そして真面目だったり面白かったりする頼もしい使用人の人たちだ。俺はその人たちの誰を生贄にすることも許せない。
Better.
そして俺はその決意があやふやだった。
So which is it?
だからその心の弱さをベアトに疲れたんだ。
自らの弱点を認め理解する、
Well,
なかなかできることではありません。バトラ様は
Ronove is a good
19
boy.
人
I
目が存在
agree.
する説を
Look at
やり
him.
にする。
He's so good looking. I'm going to fight Ryukishi with my bare hands.
槍というよりは盾でしょうかな。いずれにせよこれまでのゲームでの無策と違い、戦い方に指針を持たれるのは劇的飛躍と申せましょう。
The sprite is also amazing.
これでバトラ様は 敬愛する18人を疑わずに存分に19人目を疑い人間犯人説を追求できるわけでございます。
そういうことさ。最初のゲームのカノン君が殺された
That
ボ
would
イ
be
ラー室
the
とか
easiest way out into this mystery. I don't believe there's a 19th person in the island.
19人目が存在していたなら迷う必要なんかないトリックはいくつもある。
In the very first game, Kanokun was killed in the boiler room. One might think he was attacked by Kumasawa-san, who had gone down into the boiler room with him. Or maybe that someone who had appeared to be dead earlier was actually faking and had ambushed him. My theory was either Kinzo or one of the people who had their faces completely smashed in. Either way, it was a move that forced me to suspect one of the 18. However, by simply proposing that a 19th person existed, there was no longer any need to suspect one of the 18 for that murder in the boiler room.
つまり18人の誰にも無理だからという図式だけは否定することができるわけさ。
Using this argument, it's easy to explain, for example, the problematic case that has already occurred in this game. Who gave Maria the letter? Even if all 18 people have alibis, I could easily explain everything by saying that a 19th person must have visited her and given her the letter. I don't believe that.
ふむふむ
Says humu.
とても良い一手だと思いますよ。私だったらどう切り返しましょうか。たとえバトラ様が理解されたとしても、今18人攻めは有効な手でしょうね。バトラ様の守りがどの程度か確かめる意味でも、改めてそこをつくのも面白いかもしれません。
ならどう来る？悪魔の執事。
Demon Butler. Oh my god. Oh, I only now just noticed he has a wing on his monocle. That's really
19
cute.
人目の駒を迎え撃つのが妥当でございましょう。バトラ様は
Look at his face!
19人目にお会いしておりませんね。
He looks like a gremlin! I love him.
19人目が存在する証拠をお願いできますかな。
Let's heckin' go.
アメーゼ。もちろん。その差し手で来るだ
He
ろうことは
really
読んで。
just is doing the cat smile, isn't he?
それはそれは
Like this expression. Wait, let me. The one with the. That looks like this? Sorry, that's the wrong one. This one.
受け手をお願いいたします。
魔女だの悪魔だの。お前らにこれほどふさわしい一手はないぜ。それがこいつ。悪魔の証明さ。
Oh. Jesus, what did you do? Pointed so hard you exploded something in the background like, oh jeez, that furniture. What furniture was expensive from IKEA? When you try to make some claim to humans like us, we always counterattack by telling you to show some proof. Because that's a human move. But I'm fighting with a witch. I'm taking part in a battle with someone who isn't human. And some moves exist that can only be used in a game against a witch. Happens also in Ace Attorney. You are right, actually. Especially in the Ace Attorney anime, where when Phoenix points and suddenly there's like a hurricane in the curtain room. There are cheap moves! And that's what this Devil's Proof is. Because it's impossible to prove. Let's assume there's a hidden mansion on Rokkenjima, separate from the Ushiromiya family mansion, and that a woman named Beatrice lives there. In order to prove this, one must find this mansion and actually bring Beatrice out of it. That's called actual proof in the human world. However, if you follow the rules of the Devil's Proof, you can't deny that she exists, even if there's no proof that she does. Because it's impossible to prove that something doesn't exist. That's right, I'm finally able to turn the tables using this Devil's Proof which tormented me so much before. Those guys were always trying to force me to accept the existence of the witch with it. After all, it was physically impossible for me to show any proof that witches don't exist and deny Beato's claims. That's why I kept getting hit with reckless arguments that witches do exist and was unable to counterattack. grabs a chessboard, slams it on the table like boom. Check this shit out. And that's why I'll spin the chessboard around right now. Oh, let's go. Spin the chessboard. It go brrr. If I can't disprove the existence of witches, then that means if I suggest that a 19th person exists, you can't deny that either. In other words, because this problematic and mysterious mistress is craftily hiding herself, it'd be perfectly natural if you never found her, no matter how hard you looked. So you can't say that your inability to find this 19th person proves that she doesn't exist. Therefore, it's impossible to deny the 19th person's existence. Beato used the devil's proof to make denying her own existence impossible. But this time it's become my weapon. If we can get away with this argument, then forget just a 19th person. This island could be full of people we don't know about. And even if there were 10 or 100 of them, she still couldn't deny that they existed. In the last game, and the one before that, among the murder scenes that showed up, there were several that were extremely intricate and must have taken a lot of effort to set up. It's really hard to imagine a single culprit setting up all of those. However, if not just a 19th person, but 10 or 100 people were hidden somewhere, that wouldn't be any problem at all. If they all split up the work, they could handle any job in a short period of time. Of course, doubts will naturally arise as to whether a large group of people like that could sneak around the mansion without being noticed. But those are all settled by devil's proof. You can't deny that even 100 people were there just because they weren't seen or noticed. I mean, even though I'm saying it myself, it's such a stupid argument that it makes me want to throw up. Welp. However, because it's such a dirty move, it's a perfect one to use against a witch. Well, this is just my imagination, but what if about 100 suspicious men wearing goat masks were hiding in the shadows? Something like that's worse than laughable, almost like they're cockroaches. If you see one, it means there's 100 more hiding somewhere. Ew.
まあ、へりくつまみれの暴論だとは思うぜ。相手が人間だったなら、寝言を言うなと怒鳴られるところだろうよ。
Well,
だが、俺の相手は魔女だ。
in this case, it's right now, it's a demon butler, if you'll excuse me.
俺たちがやってるのはそういう勝負
I
なんだろう。
want you to respect the boy here.
どんな暴論であろうとも、人間で説明をつけ、魔女を否定する。とにかく、この一手で俺は、二度と親しい18人のみんなを疑わなくて済む。
Yeah, that's not gonna happen. I'm sorry to tell you.
前回の失敗は繰り返さない。
なるほど。前回の失敗を学ばれているのですね。良いことですよ。さすがに3度もゲームを重ねると容量が良くなるものです。まずは自陣の守りを固める。
Why is he so cute? I can't handle
実に堅
this.
実な処方です。なかなかの妙手と思いますよ。
まあ、19人目の人物を仮定したとしても、マスターキーの本数などのように何人人間を増やしてもクリアできないトリックも残ってる。しかしとりあえずの初手としては悪くないはずだ。
I guess.
バトラ様の切り札、19人目の人物という大駒。証拠はあるのかとの私の一手に、バトラ様は悪魔の証明で反撃。良い攻防です。お嬢様のおられないところで勝手に手を進めてしまうのは申し訳ないのですが、私も少し面白くなってきてしまったところです。
Just takes Beatrice's controller like, I feel like playing
お
too.
嬢様に代わり、さらに一手進めさせていただきましょうか。
来いよ。魔女だろうと悪魔だろうと相手に不足はねえ。
バトラ様の刺された一手、悪魔の証明。
It's about this dumb.
これは私ども悪魔のお箱でございますが、他にも私どもにはいくつもの手がございます。ヘンペルのカラスという一手はご存知ですかな？
No, but please tell me about it, sir. I'm all
ヘン
ears.
ペルのカラス？何の話だ？
Oh, she's back. Where was she? Milady, where were you? And I'm going to die. Beatrice and Ronove in one picture is going to kill me. Just then, that enraging laugh I've heard so many times started echoing. That enraging laugh, you know, it's so... Oh. The room was filled with dazzling golden butterflies, and in the center of that whirlwind, the golden witch, my beloved, appeared.
これはお嬢様。おはようございます。
わらわのいないところで何やら面白そうなことをしていると思えば。
Oh yes, such as beating Battler up. It's a fun hobby.
なんとも笑える懐かしいってよ。よもやバトラに披露する日が来ようとはな。
This is a sort of setup that's going to make me pass out, you guys. I don't know if I'm going to survive until the end of the stream like this.
それは悪魔の証明に並ぶ古典的一手だ。ロノウェ、それはわらわが指す一手ぞ。
Give me the controller back. I want to be the one to slap Battler.
わらわの楽しみを減らしてくれるな。
出やがったな。ゲラゲラ魔女め。
Yes, she will stay hydrated.
下品に笑いやがって。こいつもお前のこと。笑い方に品がねえって陰口言ってたぜ。
You snitch?
な。
それは心外な。本当か？
めっそうもない。心より尊敬申し上げているお嬢様に、この私めがどうしてそのような陰口を申せましょうか。
You tell him.
よくもシャーシャーと言えるもんだな。
He's not shameless, he
お
has
前
the
とは仲
trip.
良くなれそうにないぜ。
まあよい。話を戻そう。ヘンペルのカラスは実証を待遇的に行ってみせる。つまりこういう手だ。カラスが黒いことを証明するにはどうすればいい？
That's a good question.
何の話だ？カラスが黒いことを証明って、カラスを捕まえてきて色が黒いことを確認すりゃいいだけの話だろ。
Yes, and if you happen to have healthy eyes, either if you have glasses or not and are not colorblind, just look at one with your eyes and say that's black. That's a black raven.
カラスイコール黒いを証明すればよい。
So basically baby logic.
ということは黒くない鳥イコールカラスではないを証明しても同じ論法になるのがわかるかな。世界中のカラスでない鳥をすべて調べ、それは結果的に故に黒い鳥はカラスであると、これを待遇論法という。そなたには難しい。
Contrapositive, okay?
ああ、まったく何言ってやがるのかさっぱりだ。
バトラ様、こういう例え話はいかがでしょう。二つの箱があり、片方は当たりでクッキーが入っているといたします。
Okay.
もちろんもう片方は外れで空っぽです。
Okay. For example, here are two boxes. Where one has a cookie inside and it means you win, while the other is empty and means you lose. At this moment, it has a cookie inside equals you win, which implies that you do not win equals it had no cookie inside. When such a relationship exists, the latter is called the contrapositive. When if A then B is true, then if not B, then not A is also true.
そりゃ当然だろうよ。もし選んだ方が外れだったなら、もう片方は自動的に当たりってことになる。つまり箱を適当に選び、当たりを引こうと外れを引こうと、最初の一手でどっちの箱にクッキーが入っているか特定できるわけだ。
その通り。
Okay.
開けた箱にクッキーが入っていたなら、
I actually prefer the Raven example a little bit more. This is a little bit more complicated for my teensy tiny brain.
この箱は当たりイコールこの箱にはクッキーが入っている。おまさにしかし 開けた箱が空っぽだったなら、この時は逆にヘンペルのカラスを満たす。この箱にクッキーが入っていないイコールこの箱は当たりではないとなるのだから。そしてそれは箱が2つし
The
か
more
ない
it's
ことを
being
前提
explained
と
to
して
me,
い
the
る
more
限り、
confused I get.
もう片方の箱が自動的に当たりであることを対偶的に示している。
ま、なんとなく理屈は分かったぜ。
I'm not! Help!
毒を制するには毒、へりくつにはへりくつってわけだ。それで俺の島には19人目の人間が隠れているに違いないから、18人全員にアリバイがあってもそれは魔女を認めることにはならないをどう切り。
よかろう。わらわの手は教えよう。
Yes, please,
ま
Beatrice,
ず
enlighten
そな
me.
たは
Enlighten this
18
tiny
人の
baby
中に
brain.
犯人はいないイコールならば犯人は19人目としならば待遇としてこうなるわけだ。つまり犯人は19人目ではないイコールならば18人の中に犯人がいる。
I mean...
はあ？なんだと？それはどういう意味だ？
そなたの指し手を逆手に取っただけだがな。ロノウェ、説明せよ。
Yes, gladly.
そなたのさっきのクッキーの箱の例えはバトラに分かりやすいらしい。
But I thought that was more
それ
complicated.
では僭越ながら
Help!
先ほどの例え話でもう一度ご説明させていただきます。
Allow me to repeat my earlier story about two treasure boxes, one of which has a cookie in it. In this situation, we have an 18-person box and a 19-person box. So the cookie represents the culprit. Batra-sama lets you say you open a 18-person box. Because the cookie is not there, you have paradoxically proven that therefore the cookie is in the 19-person box. That lets us make an even more paradoxical claim. In other words, if it was first shown that the 19-person box was empty, it would prove at the same time that the cookie is in the 18-person box. Batra-sama played this move in order to avoid having to doubt any of the 18, but it's now been used to prepare an 18-person attack. Oh!
なんだと？
I mean, isn't that obvious though, Batra?
わらわが19人目の箱の中身が空っぽであることを先に証明すれば、そなたは自動的に18人の箱の中にクッキーがあることを認めなければならないということになる。
Okay, yeah, that's pretty much what we have going on in episode 2. Like, either you accept there is a witch, therefore a 19-person, or you accept that you have to suspect one of the 18 people. You can't have two cakes and eat them, is
そなた
basically.
はそれを逆の言い方で口にしたに過ぎんのだぞ。
Battler trying really hard not to suspect his family here.
俺の自信満々の一手は同時に諸刃の剣でもあるってわけか。
Yes?
その通りよ。そなたの19人目で全てを説明する一手は18人でしか説明できないことを認めざるを得ないリスクを背負っている。
He's pitfalling into the same mistakes as episode 2, technically. I can see the question arcs are going to be eventually making Battler forcefully accept he has to suspect one of the 18 people. I see. Hempel's Raven. So this is a countering technique. Wait, if I really think about it, this counter is really disadvantaged for me. This isn't the cookie we're talking about. If I imagine that the loser treasure chest actually has a bomb in it, it gets even clearer. And there aren't just 2 treasure chests, but 18 plus 1 more for the 19 person. If you think of it as a total of 19 boxes, it gets even easier to picture. First off, one of the premises of the human culprit theory is that the bomb will definitely be in one of these boxes. I didn't want to place the bomb in the boxes for any of the 18, so I used the devil's proof and created the 19-person box so I could throw the bomb in there. That much was fine, but then Beato struck back. Now, if the contents of the 19-person box are empty, that'll automatically mean that the bomb's in one of the other 18 boxes. I mean, duh! If I could examine what's inside all the 18 of those boxes, then as long as I can show that the bomb isn't in any of them, I'll be able to safely show that the 18 are innocent. If that were possible, I'd have nothing to fear. However, in reality, that'll be almost absolutely impossible. The police wouldn't come here in this typhoon. We don't have to access to scientific investigations or experts or anything. In short, we can prove anything decisively. It would be impossible for me to find any proof other than simply gulping down whatever alibis each of the 18 give. I mean, do you need to be an expert to figure out some of the easiest shit? Connor doesn't need it. That means I personally have to prove their innocence and I have to do it perfectly. Okay, yeah, pretty much. Like by staying with them the whole time, never letting them out of my sight for a second, not necessarily. By doing that, I could probably be sure of that person's innocence. Sure that the bomb isn't in their box. However, in practical terms, that'll be impossible. In other words, I'd have to expend an incredible effort just to check the contents of one box. And there are 18 of them! In other words, unless I bound all 18 of them in chains and watched over them, it would be impossible to prove that all of them have empty boxes. However, Beato only has to open one box, the 19-person box, and show that it's empty to prove that the bomb's in one of the other 18 boxes. Furthermore, there's no need for her to show which of the 18 boxes has the bomb. I've got 18 times more work to do to explain my pet theory than Beatrice does for hers. Welp, you wanted it like this, Pater.
世の中には悪魔の証明がそうであるように反論に膨大な手間がかかり事実上不可能であるケースが少なくない。しかしヘンペルのカラスはその問題を逆手に取り容易に実証することを可能とする。
Yes, I felt that since people started bringing up Devil's Proof, I was like, that feels kinda unfair though.
ヘンペルのカラスを使えばさまざまな暴論が実証可能なのです。例えば私以外の人間イコール愚かであるという命題があったとします。
All humans except me equals foolish.
これを証明するには本来私を除く全人類を調べ愚かであることを証明しなければなりません。しかし何十億人も調べるなど現実には不可能でしょう。
He really just wanted to roast humanity
マトラ様の
with this example.
18箱を開ける
He was waiting for this.
全く同じです。
What a man.
しかしヘンペルのカラスならばその命題は
Ronove
大量
is
的にこう
savage.
変換
Yes.
される。つまり私以外の人
Yes,
間
and I love that in
イ
him.
コール愚かである
He is
とそなた
a
風に言うな
savage,
らば
sassy battler.
チェス
Sorry,
盤をひっくり返
butler.
す愚かではないイコール私として証明してもよいということだ。つまりどういうことだと思う？
It means you are incompetent
彼らが
battler.
聡明であるという事実を知るだけで全人類は愚かであることの何十億人分もの証明が直ちに終了してしまうわけだ。全人類がわらわよりも愚かであることをわずか1秒もかけずに証明終了できる。世界最強最速の QED これぞヘンペルのカラス。
なんつ暴論だよ。
It makes sense though.
これはとてもとても便利な一手ですよ。悪魔どころか神々も好む一手です。
Well, battler, you gotta learn how to deal with
幸
counterplay.
福であるイコール神のしもべを命題とするとき、待遇は神のしもべでない人間イコール幸福であってはいけないとなります。
Humanity is not blessed.
つまり神のしもべが
He was
その
kinda
過去によって
grossed out,
幸
like,
福であることを
ugh,
実証
humans.
するためにはその過去を受けぬ人々が不幸であることを実証すればいいわけです。そして彼らは 自らの神を信じない人々を不幸に突き落とすことで自らの幸福を実証する。
人に幸福を与えるには莫大なコストがかかる。
I suppose.
人を不幸に
I
す
don't
る
need
の
much.
に必要なコストははるかに安上がりだ。
I only need good food and some love
つまり
to be
ペン
happy.
ペルのカラスを使えば
Well, and
神々は
capitalism
実に低コスト
ceasing to be,
信
then
者
it
に
will
加
be
護の
complete.
喜びを与えられるわけよ。
悪魔だ。悪魔の理論だ。めちゃくちゃだ。
話がそ
I
れ
mean,
てし
you
ま
are
っ
the one who brought it up, though.
た。そろそろ話を戻そうぞ。わらわの反撃の一手は以上だ。そなたの19人目が犯人だから18人は無実で魔女も存在しない。ならば19人目が犯人でないことを証明できたら
Oops.
18人か魔女のどちらかが犯人ということで確定するぞ。との確認だ。
Battery, you put yourself in a trap once again. For a while, I just stood there shocked, completely forgetting to close my mouth. Just when I thought I'd countered one of their strong points, their counterattack had been this reckless argument that I couldn't possibly have anticipated. What do you mean reckless? It's just counterplay to a counterplay. Learn your tech, boy! Is this gonna be impossible after all? To continue denying the witch on an island with no more than 18 people, and still believe in the innocence of those 18 people. Is that just a delusion? Am I just trying to escape reality? Yeah. You are not in reality as we speak. Oh boy, not yet. Don't give up this desperate struggle yet. Who cares about whoever's Raven? They're just trying to confuse me by bringing up weird bits of trivia. I use the devil's proof. Don't feel uncertain about something you've used before, or more like, I've used devil's proof. That's supposed to work. Believe in the spear you've drawn, and then forcefully gouge it in. I imagine that's how a fighting game player sometimes talks. Like,
まだ
But
まだ序盤だぞ。
this move works. You're not supposed to mash out of this.
この程度で長考するつもりか？
いや待て。確認するぞ。確かに俺は分かりやすく19人目という言い方をしたが、悪魔の証明によって18人以上人間を増やせるなら、それは10人いるか100人いるかもわからない。不特定多数という。
Really?
お前が想定する人数より常に1人多い。わかるか？
They countered my twisted logic with something even more twisted. So the only thing that could counter that would be even crazier twisted logic. Oh boy, Bather, you're gonna get so fucked with that logic.
なるほど。わらわが19人目のアリバイを何らかの方法で証明したとしても、
You're just gonna be like, oh, there's a 20th person.
その
There's a
瞬間にそ
21st.
なたは
22nd.
20人目を生み出し犯人だと主張する。
That's so lame though.
これを無限に繰り返すことによって、わらわは永遠に彼らのアリバイの証明が終えられないというわけか。
Yeah, but that's cheap.
なるほどなるほど。さながらイナゴの大群を呼び出す魔王よな。さすがは金蔵の孫よ。
I
召
suppose.
喚術の才能には恵まれていると見える。
I guess.
つまり18人以外の存在 X は常にアリバイを証明することが不可能なんだ。
To always prove an alibi for each X person outside of the first
どうだ
18.
ベアト。ヘリクス合戦だと分かれば俺も負けねえぜ。
I guess.
愚かしいぞ。わらわを誰と心得る。わらわこそは無限の魔女。そのわらわに無限にて挑むとは肩払いたいわ。無限を操ることはつまり無限を殺すこともできるということ。わらわが19人目を切れば20人目を切れば21人目を呼び 21人目を切れば22人目を切れば
Pretty much, yeah.
23人目を呼び34人目を呼び6計4358兆2235億7967万3204人目を呼び
Bruh, that's a long number.
わらわを永遠に翻弄で生きるとでも無限交代とは笑わせる。わらわに無限は通じぬわ。
She's right, though.
ほう。ならばどうやってこの俺の無限を殺すんだよ。見せてみろよ。
And just cut.
わらわには真実を赤で語る力があろうが。
Right, that's a mechanic that she has.
来やがったな。
わらわが赤で語るとき、そこには一切の幻想がない。わらわがこの島には100人しかいないと一言赤で語れば、そなたにはもはや101人目を生み出すことはかなわぬのだ。
She's right, though.
ほーらバトラー、今度はどんな真実を赤で語ってみせようか。
She's going to say there are only 18 people.
どんな拠り所を叩き切ってそなたを絶望に突き落としてやろうか。
Say it! Say it! 18 people! Battler needs to stop being a baby!
いつもの怯えた顔を見せてみるがいい。なに？そなた、笑うか？
I wonder what kind of creepy look I had on my face if I laughed right then. The red sure is scary. Every time it jumps out, I'm driven into the depths of hopelessness. But I've already realized something. There's no need to be overly afraid of the red.
また抜きやがったな。殿下、それで
So? If I simply do not accept the truth.
今度はベアトリーチェ様は何をどう赤で語ってくださるってんだ。
ほう、
Ho ho.
それはどういう意味か。急に余裕を見せよって。
悪いが、その真っ赤な砲塔は俺も抜いてくれるのを待ってたんだ。さて、お前は今度は何を赤で宣言してくれるんだ？
Let's
言
see.
っとくが、そいつは自爆だぜ。
You are dumb in red.
その時点でお前は魔女説を自ら捨てたも同然。まさに棟梁だ。確かに俺にとっての。
That's right. The red wasn't always a weapon that worked in Beato's favor alone. It was the other way around. If she used it the wrong way, it was dangerous enough that she could bring about her own death. If she used it carelessly, and said something that ended up denying herself, that'd be exactly the same as self-destructing.
18人の中に犯人がいると赤で言われることは受け入れたくない悲しい事実さ。たとえ誰が犯人であっても俺はきっと辛い気持ちになるだろうぜ。だがそれはそれ以前にお前の敗北も意味する。
I guess? Pretty
人
much?
間が犯人だとお前が赤で語ることはお前の棟梁宣言にも等しい。
But what if one of the 18 people is a witch? That's the other question.
お前が俺と差し違えても相打ちにしたいってんならそれも面白い一手だろうぜ。だがこの勝負は俺の勝ちで終わる。
Beatrice's red was her true trump card. When that person speaks in red, it's definitely the truth, and no amount of proof or counter arguments can change that. Until now, she's used that to severely wound me, and each time the tiny foundation supporting my heart gets split in half. However, if she uses it carelessly, then I can also glean a little information about the truth. In the last game, I used that to my advantage, especially during the Chappelle's closed room trick, and almost completely got her box in at one point. But she was pretty sly herself. She learned from experience, and since then she started using discretion in the timing of her red. This feeling of tension was almost literally like a battle of real swords. This is a high-level intellectual battle, a battle of IQs, if you would say, not an intellectual battle. This really is twisted logic. This was the world's craziest and worst battle of twisted logic. I'd like to call it the battle of using your brains.
さあ、今度はお前の手番だぜ。そうさ。お前のヘンペルのカラスを使うには、まず18人以外に何人の人間がいるのかを赤で確定させる必要がある。その上で、それらの人間についてさらに赤で犯人でないことを宣言したならば、なるほど。こいつは俺にとって致命傷になるだろうぜ。
あれほど怯えていた赤を、もはや微塵も怯えぬとはな。
I mean,
たくましいやつよ。
抜いてみろよ。殿下の宝刀。バッサリ決まって、今度こそ俺を屈服できるかもしれねえぜ。
面白い。こうでなくて。
Battle has maybe grown some brain cells, I guess. Agitator. Challenge her. Drive her into a corner to make her speak in red. Of course her red's always wiping out my only rays of hope, but don't be afraid of that. On this island overcome with falsehoods and illusions, the only thing I can trust is the information she speaks in red. It's my only way across the chasm of hell. Just a single tightrope. Her merciless blood-red blade is the only way I can survive. This isn't just walking on a tightrope, it's like literally walking on the edge of a blade. Of course I'm afraid, because my victory condition is the denial of the witches, then to use her positive logic, the culprit must be human. But I didn't want to search for a culprit amid the 18. That's what made me stick to a weak position, since I had to claim both that it couldn't be a witch and that it couldn't be one of the 18. Last time, I was unable to understand that, so that's where she hit me, leaving me tattered and defeated. But that's okay. Let her hit me. Let her attack. No problem. Someone said it once in an old sword fighting movie, that a good fortress has one, and only one intentionally weak point. The enemy would gather there. They would be lured there, and that would be where the actual battle took place. As long as I understood my weak points, as long as she wanted to attack those weak points, it was as if I were luring her into launching an attack there. Gauge the distance between us with care, retreating step by step. Make them move forward. The more she recklessly flourished at red, the more chances I would get to strike back. Don't be afraid of the red. Keep her cornered so that she'll have no choice but to refute me with the red. No matter how oppressively she speaks in red, that's right, that red itself is the same as fresh blood leaking from her wounds.
さあ、どうしたよ。
I mean, pretty much, she actually gave the answer, or an answer, in chapter 2, and Battle was like, but I don't like this answer, and then just gave up.
まずはこの島に合計で何人いるのか。さもないと、お前のカラスは俺に切り込めないぜ。
やぶれかぶれがこうもやりにくいとは。捨て身というやつはいつの時代も侮れんな。
Pretty much, yeah.
やはり金蔵の孫か。追い詰められれば追い詰められるほどに不敵。
Well, it's the only thing he has, I guess. He needs something! Ronove cleared his throat. Oh, finally, I see him again.
せっかくの紅茶も冷めてしまいますよ。
Drink it! I want it, please! I want the black tea! Here, milady. Have this tea. Drink it so you can destroy him later. Stay hydrated, milady. Ronove, who was supposed to be her ally, roguishly rushed her into making her next move. Beato probably thought she'd manage to smile back and appear confident, but she couldn't hide the sweat building up on her forehead. By now, she had completely lost the confident feeling that had allowed her to turn up her nose at her worthless opponent. Of course, she probably wouldn't be cornered by something like this. She'd just been cautious. Until now, I've been inexperienced. I didn't know how to fight, and I wasn't strong enough to be her opponent. Oops, sorry. However, now that we've reached the third game, she's realized that I'm starting to be more skilled. And she's grown more cautious, thinking every move more carefully. Sure, that's fine, Beatrice. Sorry to keep you waiting. Are you happy now? I am! I am that I get to see her. And I'm also glad he's maybe starting to get some sense.
バトラー。
She's so ready to just destroy him.
拉致が開かねえな。なら、ズバッと気持ちよく、いつものやつで行こうじゃねえか。
With the usual.
ほう、いつものやつとな。ならば頼もうではないか。
What would that be?
あれを聞かぬと、やはり始まった気がせぬわ。
The first move was mine.
行くぜ、ベアト。副賞要求。この島には18人しかいない。
Oh, let's go.
こいつを赤で言われちまったら、俺は18人の誰かを疑わざるを得ない。19人目の仕業にはもうできず、八方だが、俺は18人の中に犯人が絶対にいないと信じてる。
Oh, come on. Are we doing this
あ
again?
んな残酷な殺人を
Oh!
18人の誰にも起こせるものか。繰り返すぞ。副賞要求。この島には18人しかいない。
拒否する。理由は明かさない。
Whew! I'd avoided what would have been the worst threat for me. If she'd repeated that, I'd be faced with those two worst choices of accepting the witch or suspecting one of the 18. Fucking! I can't with you! I thought you just learned, like last time, all over again. But Beato hadn't proclaimed my ultimate and greatest weakness in red. If she refuses to repeat it, even though there was no reason for her not to strike, even though it was a weakness she would have been drooling at. She hadn't sliced me up with red by using that move, which should have been as good as forking a rook and the king. This was a big sign of my advantage. That's right, the culprit isn't one of the 18. Battler doesn't learn! This hurts! I won't suspect anyone, and since the culprit isn't a witch either, it means a 19th person exists on this island. I'm going to materialize into the meta world, and I'm gonna punch Battler in the mouth. And that's you. A person who, as grandfather's mistress of 30 years, has been secretly living in a hidden mansion in the forest for a long time. The human Beatrice. Okay, maybe that's a kind of plausible explanation. But Battler keeps talking in his dialogue as if he's ready to accept at some point that he's going to suspect one of the family people. And then he's like, no, it's not one of the 18 family people. And I'm like, you don't learn! Stop!
魔女なんかじゃない。この島に何十年も隠れ住んできた。ただの人間なんだ。
She's going to kill you, you know that.
1000年を経た無限の魔女のわらわをただの人間呼ばわりしたか。
Yes? Ah! Crap. Sorry.
いいか。続けるぜ。
Wait. For a while, Beatrice continued to laugh unpleasantly and gloatingly, or maybe spitefully. Oh, I am also looking at Battler spitefully.
続けて副賞要求。この島には19人以上がいる。
Beatrice fell silent once again. I wouldn't say that in red. Let him figure it out for himself. She'd probably remain extremely cautious as long as confirming the number of humans on this island might give her some large disadvantage, depending on the situation. The red has already become a foothold for my counterattacks. Now that we know this, it makes the red very risky for the witch. But if she couldn't repeat this, her Hempel's Raven wouldn't be effective. To break my devil's proof, she would need to settle this existence and number of people outside the 18 in red. That's right. She couldn't break the existence of a 19 person unless she uses the red. I've closed Beato in, giving her no choice but to speak in red. There really is a way to fight. In this witch's game, you said that last time and then got absolutely, utterly destroyed.
拒否してもいいんだぜ。お前が赤で言えないなら、この島の合計人数は18プラス X ってことになる。
Oh my god.
この X は 初手で許すには相当でかい大駒だぜ。何しろ以後18人の誰にも不可能だったと全て18人以外の人間 X で説明可能になる。全員アリバイ系の密室を全て打ち破れる大駒だ。
It was just like how a chess bishop can cut a thin line through enemy forces as long as there's a slight gap. It could only be effectively used on squares of the same color, but it was very good at controlling territory on the board. It looked like Beato also noticed her current plight. She couldn't just let such an important piece go, especially this close to the beginning of the game. If she pulled out her red treasure, a sword, it wouldn't be that difficult to save herself from this. But Beato was completely aware that I was expecting it. She was afraid that the careless red truth might end up strangling her own neck. Because in the first place, a witch is something that ought to be denied and read. Believe, don't doubt, witches don't exist. Something like that couldn't exist in this world. They can only exist in the valleys between truths. They have fragile existence, curled up in these cracks, frantically trying to protect themselves from the brutal winds of truth. They can only barely exist like a mirage by surviving on falsehoods and illusions. And yet, Bator, in other words, the red, which only witches can use, is the reality that might easily deny their very being. The more they brandish their red words, the more they begin to lose bit by bit that crack in truth inside which they can endure. That's why they don't want to use red words and can easily lose that crack in truth, which is based on fuzzy information. Or illusions, in other words. That's because they understand that they're gradually being cornered. Of course that bastard will never admit it, because if she did, it'd be the same as admitting that she's something that can't exist in this world, like an imaginary number. Don't be afraid. Stay strong. I know she's the one who's really been pierced to the bone. After all, her red treasure sword can't be used without a lot of preparation.
どうしたよ。繰り返すぜ。副将要求。この島には19人以上がいる。
Well, I think she's going to go for the 18, right?
拒否する。
Oh, she refuses. At the end of Beato's warning, she took a single deep breath and quietly announced her refusal. I thought she'd use it, but Beato refused to speak in red, even though it would cost her victory in the opening part of the game.
拒否したな。ということは今後、俺は18人以外の架空人物 X を何人でも使い放題ってことになるぜ。
No.
好きにするがよい。わらわはそなたの副将を拒否した。今はそれで十分であろう。拒否の理由は。いや。
I won't tell you yet. She's saving it up.
いずれすぐにわかる。
もったいぶりやがってよ。
あえて使わぬ赤もまた赤らしい使い方よ。そなたは赤き宝刀と呼んだね。愉快な例えよ。わらわも使おう。宝刀は抜かぬうちが花い。むしろ抜かぬことによって醸せる畏怖というものもある。
That's true.
そうだな。俺はお前がいつ赤でひっくり返してくるか常に念頭に置いて戦わなければならない。こいつはえれえプレッシャーだ。それに副将を拒否される方が辛い場合もある。
Yeah.
何しろ俺の読みが正しいから拒否できないのか、ミスリードにはまって泳がされてるのか、区別がつかないからな。
Oh yes, like in 2.
そういう意味ではなるほど。抜かずの宝刀ってわけだ。
なあ、同じ突き落とすなら少しでも高いところに行かせてからに限る。
Yeah, she's just waiting to destroy you
まだ始
later.
まったばかり。まだまだな。この勝負は今はわらわがリザインする。淡き勝利に今は酔え。今はな。
She's going to get your ass later. Get prepared. Let's see how the rest plays out. Practically speaking, the early part of the game ended with her being a sore loser. Even so, I couldn't relax my guard at all. That tension didn't fade one bit, until I was greeted by the sound of Ronove's applause. Yes.
お見事です、バトラ様。まずは序盤はバトラ様有利の展開でスタートというところでしょうか。
さあな、この駒が俺の手でもぎ取ったものなのか、取るよう誘導されたものかはまだわからねえな。どうせお前のことだ。俺が罠にはまり始めてるのを知ってて白々しく拍手をしてるんだろ。
まさか。
I wonder.
序盤とはいえ、お嬢様より一本を奪った手腕を純粋に祝福いたしております。
Yeah, it's only the first round. You still have more.
すぐ増長するお方。たまにはこのような刺激も良い薬かと思いますよ。
お前んとこの執事、ほんと口悪いな。
A vicious tongue? Well, he says he.
であろう
He's amazing.
たまにわらわでもカチンとくるぞ。
それは大変に失礼いたしました。さあさあ。
But that's what makes him good. He has flavor.
紅茶の代わりはいかがですかな。
Flavor.
まだゲームは始まったばかりでご
I
ざい
would
ま
like
す。
some black tea, please. From you.
ゲームを彩るお茶とお菓子はどうかこの私めにお任せを。どうぞお気兼ねなくゲームをおすすめになってください。
そうさせてもら
Proceed
う。
with your game.
先を進めるぜ。これからが本番だ。
よかろう。時計を進めようではないか。
Yes. Some black
かし
tea,
こまりま
please.
した。クッキーは
Yes.
いらぬ。
No.
ベルゼブブにやれば喜ぼう。
No, give it to me.
しばし沈黙せよ。
I want it. While listening to the sound of the demon butler pouring tea, the witch closed her eyes slightly and fell silent. Cookies! Give me! Yes, I want the cookies! I too am a guest in this story. I'm watching. For some time, she was deeply lost in thought, but eventually a roguish glint came into her eyes. She is ready to kill.
よかろう。
This is only the first set.
わらわがどうして初手にて赤で語るのを拒否したのか。今より分からせてやる。
何？
Okay.
上等じゃねえか
The
よ。
reveal is coming
お手並み
already?
拝見と行くぜ。
I thought she was going to save it for like later in the
や
game.
はり見逃すには惜しい大駒よ。拙速かもしれぬが動かせてもらおう。赤は使わぬが。今よりそれをわらわに代わってローザが説明する。
Oh no! We've been like, this whole discussion has been going on while the adults are discussing.
聞くがよい。
Okay, we're going back to the real world, back to the adults at the dinner table. So what's it gonna be?
もちろん私も同意よ。ローザもそうでしょ。ローザ？
ごめんなさい。私も同じよ。同意するわ。
Oh?
どうしたんや、ローザさん。
I don't know, maybe she was just listening into a set between Batter and some weird
あん
witch
たさっきからずいぶんおとなしい
who
な。
also has a really good looking battler?
体調
Sorry,
でも悪いんと
butler. I
ちゃう
keep saying
か。
battler. From the beginning, Rosa had never been one to cut in on the siblings' fights. But even so, she seemed unmotivated, and had said almost nothing during this night's conference. This whole time she had hung her head, and appeared to be thinking of something else.
あんたさっきからぼんやりしてるわよ。そんなので遺産が守れると思ってるの？
Nope.
あんたも一児の母なんだから、もっとしっかりなさいよ。
ごめんなさい。
朝がだいぶ早かったんじゃないかね。体調が悪いなら無理をしない方がいいだろう。
客室にベッドの用意がありますよ。お休みになってはいかがですか？
How late has it been for,
ご案内します。
for them to be discussing?
いえ、大丈夫です。ありがとう。
どうしたんだ？
何か心配事でもあるのか？
いえ、別に。
そう？さっきからずっと心ここにあらずという感じよ。
Yes, it was stuck in black tea and some cookies.
そしてそれは今私たちがしている議題と何か関係があるんじゃないかしら。
No? At those words, everyone stared at Rosa together. As if in response, Rosa's shoulders quivered. Apparently, Kiria's guess hadn't been wrong. Rosa couldn't deny it either.
いえ、
Oh, maybe is she going to say that Maria meets with this Beatrice every year? She swallowed whatever it was she had been trying to say and went silent again. Of course, the other siblings had also began to realize that something about her appearance was different from normal.
どうしたんだ？さっきからおかしいぞ。
Maybe she just came back. She just got respawned from eating all her siblings
何か思うことでもある
not
の
too
か？
long ago.
わしら全員で団結しようって誓い合ったばかりやないか。一人で悩むなんて水臭い話やで。話したってな。
ローザ、話しなさい。
The men pressed her one after the other, and Rosa confessed resignedly and nervously. The atmosphere made it seem as though she was confessing to some modest prank, which had inadvertently brought about a serious situation.
いえ、ベアトリーチェっていう
Oh, is she gonna
お
say
父
it?
様の愛人って本当に生きてるのかしらって思って。
Oh, okay.
はあ？そりゃ生きてるに決まってるでしょう。こうして手紙を送ってくるぐらいだもの。
元気かどうかは別の問題だろうけどな。肖像画の美女も今じゃきっといいお年だろうぜ。
But if she were alive, I don't think Kinzo would be acting the way he is, right?
元気やと思うで。金のことで悪知恵働くやつは決まっていくつになっても元気や。案外悪巧みは最高の回春剤かもしらへんで。
生きてるはずないの。
Oh?
今なんて？
ベアトリーチェは死んでるのよ。私が殺した。
What? What? I'm sorry?
なんだ？
どういうことよ、ローザ？
でも私が殺したわけじゃ。でも私があんなところに連れ出したから。
Huh?
やっぱり私が殺したのよ。
What the hell are you talking
あれを夢だと
about?
思い込もうとしたのよ。
Oh, wait.
でもやっぱりあれは夢じゃなかったのよ。
Okay, hold on. I need to know what this is about.
ベアトリーチェの亡霊からの手紙なのよ。
It was so sudden that everyone was lost for words. I too am. Visible confusion.
どうか落ち着いて。
Maybe she saw the real Beatrice talking to Maria and she was like, not my daughter. Stab.
ローザさん、
わしには何がないやらさっぱりや。
Or is it possible she's having memories from the previous
もう
ward?
死んどる？どういう意味なんや？
Or is it maybe a reference to something about in the first scene
二
of
つの
this
意味があると
chapter?
思うわ。まず一つ
I
目
know
は、
it was actually Beatrice, but I wonder if there's a parallel.
そしてもう一つは、私たちの想像が正しかったことを裏付けるもの。
ということはローザはベアトリーチェに会ったことがあるという。
Okay, but have you?
そんな話、ローザの口からは一度も聞いたことがないわ。ローザ、いつよ？あなたは一体いつベアトリーチェに会ったのよ？
昔よ。ずっと昔よ。
When I was a kid, then.
まだこの島に引っ越してきたばかりで私は幼かった。私は悪くないの。私が殺したわけじゃ。
Okay. Okay, I want the details.
落ち着け。 誰もお前を責めちゃいねえぜ。まず水でも飲め。
Stay hydrated. Indeed.
夏日さん、水差しを頼む。
The picture.
はい。どうぞローザさん、どうか落ち着いて。
Okay, I really need the context for this. Until Rosa was able to calm her ragged breathing, no one was able to speak a word. But what does this have to do with what Beatrice said? Isn't she technically admitting the 19th person does not exist? Like this, or... I don't know. I too am confused. I too am in visible confusion, even though my avatar doesn't show it. Oh, do we have a flashback again? Oh, this was the background that we had in the beginning of this chapter. Oh, and this is a new one.
Beatrice.
Yes?
先ほどから呼んでおる。
Mm-hmm.
聞こえなんだか？
そうであったか。すまぬ。ぼんやり考え事をしていた。
She has a soft voice!
良い天気だな。
Okay, so I assume this is a flashback.
なるほど。陽気に心を奪われるのもわかるというもの。紅茶はここで飲むか？
わらわは何者なのか。
Oh.
今紅茶を持ってくる。
Oh, is it possible this is when Beatrice was first
しばし
summoned?
待て。
紅茶は良い。わらわの話に付き合え。
She does definitely sound way younger and more innocent
よ
here.
かろう。
Kinzo had used the excuse of getting black tea to try and interrupt the conversation for the time being, but this attempt had been very transparent. I sat in a garden chair and beckoned Kinzo to do the same. Kinzo sat down heavily, exaggerating his age. For a while, we sat and appreciated the silence.
わらわは何者なのか。この問いに今日まで答えてくれた者はおらぬ。なぜか皆目をそらしはぐらかす。
Huh.
そ
Interesting.
なたとは長い仲だ。わらわはそなたを無二の友であり、そして父ですらあると思っておる。
Oh?
だからどうか教えてほしい。そなたは知っているはずだ。わらわが何者であるか。
なぜにそのようなことが気になるのか。
Because she has the right to know?
そなたはベアトリーチェ。この屋敷の主ではないか。それ以上の何を知りたいというのか。
わからない。
Oh, she sounds very not confident. Much unlike to what I'm used
何
to.
が知りたいのか自分でもわからぬというのか。それは不可解な。若き日には出口なき思考の迷路にて遊びたくなることもある。そなたの悩みもそれであろう。
Kinzo laughed as though it was a trivial matter. However, I couldn't help but feel that this behavior was another attempt to force me to stop any further questioning.
やはりそなたもそれを語ってはくれぬのか。
語ることなど何もない。そなたはベアトリーチェだ。それで十分ではないか。
That... I'm kind of getting either red flags from this or a big suspicion.
いや違う。わらわが知りたいのは名前ではない。わらわが何者なのかだ。わらわは誰で何でいつからここにいて、そしていつまでここで日々を過ごせばよいのか。
やはり紅茶を持ってこよう。
Oh my god.
せっかくの陽気がもったいないとは思わぬか。
Oh.
これは何の話だ？どうやらお前の昔話のようだが。
Yeah, it looks like it.
そのようだな。まさかここまで遡るとは。
自分は誰なのかとはまたえらく高尚な悩みをお持ちのようじゃねえか。
無理もないわ。当時のわらわは自分が何者なのか、何のために生きているのかを理解できなかった。
ま、誰でも思春期になると
I don't think
自
that was
分の生きる
puberty
意味と
though.
は何ぞやみたいな哲学的な悩みに一度はとらわれるものさ。
I mean, yes, but this looked very much different,
お前
Battler.
にもそんな微笑ましい時期があっただけという話だろ。
No? That looks very worrying.
わ
The
らわ
way
は
she was
生まれた
talking.
時からその屋敷におった。そして屋敷の中だけで生きた。もちろん庭には出られたが、敷地はとても高い柵で囲まれており、それを出ることはできず、
Oh, is this just the old mansion before they moved to the island?
厳しく言われておった。わらわはな、屋敷と庭は自由に歩けたが、
In the
その
garden?
外へは自らの意志ではたった一歩出ることさえ叶わなかったのだ。
そりゃどういう意味だよ。物心ついた時からずっとカゴの鳥だったって言いたいのか？
Probably, yeah. That
そ
sounds
う
like
いう
it.
ものだと思っていた。何しろ気づいた時からそういう生活だったからな。疑問にも思わなかった。
お前一体何者なんだ？
Well, yeah, good question. We don't know.
それよ。それこそわらわもまた望んだものだ。
どうせ人間ではなくて魔女でしたって言いやがるんだろ。
いえ、違う。まだ違う。
That isn't true yet, okay?
いや、かつてそうだったと言うべきか。
That was once the case. Okay, she's a witch who ascended. Sorry, a human who ascended to witchhood, I
人間によ
guess.
って作られた人間だ。
Constructed by Kinzo. A human built by a human. Uh-huh.
肉でできた檻とでも言うべきか。
なんだよそりゃ。
Okay.
妙な話を言い出しやがって。
Yeah, it
どう
is.
せそなたは信じぬだろうがな。
What could that mean?
まずは聞け。わらわは千年を経た偉大なる魔女であった。しかしある時、金蔵によって呼び出され、その秘術にて永遠の虜となるよう縛られたのだ。
Oh, okay. Something like she has been a witch and then he summoned her into the real world, so she received the human body, more or less. Is what she's trying to
そ
say.
りゃ
Is that
初
it?
耳だぜ。後ろ宮家で知られてる話では、お前はじい様に呼び出されて悪魔の契約みたいなのを結んで黄金を授けたってことになってるぜ。
それは正しい。そしてわらわは黄金を授け、契約の終わる時まで姿を消すはずだっ
Except?
た。しかし、まあモテる女の辛いとこよな。金蔵はこともあろうか、わらわに恋をした。
Oh yeah, very
じい
noticeable.
様も金眼が進んでたんだろうよ。ついでに乱視だな。
What? He has good. At least he has good taste. So, have you seen Beatrice?
よりによってお前に惚れるとはよ。
I mean, can you blame him? When you look at her?
まあわらわにとっては迷惑この上ない話よ。しかし人間の力とは恐ろしいものでな。あれは恐ろしい力を発揮してわらわをこの地へ釘付けにしたのだ。
His thirst was so powerful it summoned me from to the material world and kept me trapped in here.
わらわが首を縦に振らぬ限り解放せぬと言ってな。なんとも強引な男。
Jesus, and acknowledge my thirstiness for you, or you are not allowed to leave.
すげえじゃねえかよ。
No?
じい様がオカルトかぶれなのは誰もが知るところだが、大魔女ベアトリーチェ様を釘付けにするほどの力があったとはな。
The sheer mighty power of his thirst.
バカバカしい。そんなおかしな話信じると思うか。
Imagine being so thirsty for your waifu that you summon her into the material world.
やはり信じぬか。
I bet every person who has a waifu or a husband wishes they had that power.
俺が信じるのは、お前が森の中の秘
Like
密屋敷
making
に
a
隠居して
prayer
いたって事
circle,
実だけ。
praying really hard, and maybe hoping God is like, okay, fine, I'll give you your real life Sasuke Uchiha.
お前こそが六軒島の19人目なんだろう。
いかにも。そなたの想像通り、ここは六軒島の森深く。
Real edgy boy, yes. Oh, now it's revealed you can get your real life edgy boys if you just make a prayer circle and pray really hard to God. Hope you have the thirstiest, a very powerful thirst, and maybe, just maybe, you can do the same thing as Kinzo did with Beatrice.
外界からは見つけることもかなわぬ隠し屋敷。その名も。
Maybe that's what happened with my real life boyfriend. Maybe somewhere in the depths of my head, I prayed so hard for someone to love that that God was like, okay, I'm going to put your real life Ronove in this world.
そういや、ゲストハウスの正しい名はトライアンだって聞いたな。なるほど。ネーミングセンスは近いな。そしてお前はそこに隠居していたじい様の愛人。そうだな。
愛人というのは正しくない。
Okay, yeah, it doesn't sound like the right way to say it, given how they were interacting.
金蔵の片思いであったと言うべきだろう。
Oof!
先ほども話したであろう。あれが勝手にわらわに惚れた。
Man,
そしてわらわに
he has been pining for 1,000
それをわら
years.
わは拒んだ。
Thoroughly, I would say friend zoned him, but I think she went further.
そしてわらわをこの隠し屋敷へ閉じ込めたのだ。いや、屋敷に閉じ込めたというのは正しくないか。
最後が何を言ってるのかわかんねえぜ。
She's stuck in the material
どう
world.
せそなたはバカにして聞かぬであろう。何しろ魔女も魔法も信じぬという、語れど聞く耳を持たぬというならば、それを口にするは愚の骨頂だ。
The mansion looks kind of nice though.
信じるかどうかは俺が判断するぜ。聞かなきゃ話も進まねえしな。話せよ、お前の昔話を。
Tell me. Tell me how Kinzo thirsted so much to her wish to become real life flesh and blood.
金蔵はわらわに求愛を拒まれたが、それ式でへこたれる男ではない。
Oh no.
どうあってもわらわの首を縦に振らせたかった。わらわをこの屋敷へ閉じ込め、わらわを口説き落とそうと永遠の時間を費やしたのだ。
Oh no, how many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man?
強引なやつだな。しつこい男は嫌われるだろ。
求愛に応えるかどうかは別にして、男をそこまで必死にさせるのは、まあ女としてそう不愉快ではない。
I mean, it depends how far he goes.
しかしわらわは決して首を縦には振らなかった。なんとかその戒めから逃れようとしたが、あれの結界は強固で破れなかった。
And then,
それで
さまざまな抵抗を試みた結果、
did she actually
金
nod
蔵
her
の
head
結界
after
から
all?
逃れるには、肉の体を捨てるほかないという結論に至った。肉体というものは魔法を語る上でとても制約の多い器なのだ。
肉の体を捨てる？
Oh, that sounds kind of morbid.
なんだよそれ。
I hope she's not saying what I think she's
幽
saying.
体離脱みたいなものか？
まあそんなものと考えればよい。しかしわらわは精霊ではない。 魔女ではあっても、もともとは肉の体で生まれ落ちた人間だ。そのわらわにとって死を意味するほどではないにしても、それに準ずる覚悟が必要だ。
Okay.
それはつまり自殺することでしか解放されないと決意した。
That's
という意
sad.
味なのか。
自殺ではない。あくまでも肉の体を捨てるだけのことだ。
Well, so technically you ascended.
魂だけになるのは心もとない。
Or she's trying to put that over with pretty words.
魂は肉の体を出れば、太陽の強い風に絶えずさらされてしまう。それによって吹き散らされないように自らを維持するのは、わらわとて容易なことではない。
Interesting take.
できることなら避けたい最後の手段だった。しかし金蔵の結界から逃れるにはそれしかなかったのだ。何しろわらわは自由人。
So Kinzo is a man who could not accept a no.
金蔵の生が果てるまでカゴにて飼われるのはごめんというもの。
I couldn't see the stuff Beato kept going on about throwing away her body of flesh, as anything more than suicide. Grandfather persistently courted her, and to escape from that, she chose her own death. I mean, if you're kept as a prisoner like that, I don't blame her.
それで自殺したってのか。
That's awful. I'm so sorry she had to do that.
当のお前はそこでのんびりガーデンチェアに腰掛けてるじゃねえか。
そうだ。それこそが金蔵によって与えられた新たな
檻？この屋敷のことか。
違う。そこのガーデンチェアにてくつろぐわらわの体のことだ。金蔵は魂となって抜け出そうとしたわらわを、それでもなお逃すつもりはなかったのだ。
Jeez.
いやいや恐ろしいやつ。普通は片思いの女が死んでみせれば100年の恋も冷めるであろうに。だからこそあれも魔術師の端くれなのか。
That sounds kind of terrifying,
さっ
actually.
ぱりわからねえ魔女っ子トークで煙に巻くな。つまりなんだってんだ。
金蔵は
Oh, that does look very well
わ
cut.
らわすらも逃さなかったということだ。人間の思いというやつは恐ろしい。
Kinzo can't use Photoshop.
これほどまでの魔力を発揮するとは。死者の魂をつなぎ止めるなど、それを専門に弓道する魔術師でもおいそれと至れぬ境地よ。わらわはそれを知るからこそ、金蔵の恐るべき魔力にその時初めて驚愕した。そして金蔵はわらわの魂を捕まえ、
Man, he just doesn't give up.
魂を捉えておく檻は鉄でも鉛でも作れない。ただ一つを除いて。
Is it a magic mirror?
なんだよ。魔法の檻だとでも言い出すのかよ。
違う。わらわやそなたのようなこの肉の体だ。
Oh, so literally just another body.
肉と血でできた檻だけが魂をこの世につなぎ止める。金蔵はわらわの魂をわらわと瓜二つに作り上げた肉の檻に再び。
Wow.
要約するとこういうことか。じいさまがしつこく求愛するんで嫌になり自殺したが、うまく死にきれなかったってことだろう。まりくどい言い方しやがってからに。
いいや違う。
He
わら
revived
わは
her.
ホムンクルスの種子に魂を閉じ込められ、試験管の中より生まれ入れたのだ。
What? Jesus.
はあ？
Full Metal Alchemist?
バカバカしい。そんなのあるわけねえだろ。
生命を生み出す奇跡すらも金蔵は成し遂げたのだ。わらわの魂を閉じ込める檻にするためだけに。
Well, I guess Kinzo and father can shake hands.
己の恋心だけでこれほどの魔力を見せるとは。
Okay, but Kinzo did it out of psychopathic love, I guess. Like yandere tears of sort. and father just wanted to be immortal.
つくづく恐ろしいやつよ。
もうさすがにバカバカしくなってきたぜ。好きなだけ言ってろってんだ。俺は何も信じねえぜ。勝手にやってやがれってんだ。
But Kinzo and father would still shake hands. I believe that.
なんだその不愉快な態度。
最初は何か重大なヒントが隠されているだろうと多少の興味を示したが。
Yes, there is a hint. Kinzo is a fucking yandere.
聞けば聞くほどおかしな話になってい
Like
く。
one of the biggest kinds.
魔女を否定するゲームのはずなのに。
Palti Beato is very cute, I agree.
いつの間にか魔女話を鵜呑みにさせられていく気がするぜ。悪いがこれ以上耳を貸す気はねえな。勝手に好きなだけほざいてろよ。耳クソでもほじってるからよ。
No! You hurt her! You little shit! She is literally making herself vulnerable. When I started acting cold, Beato seemed unusually discovered. I mean, can you blame her? She literally opened up to you. Wow, you ungrateful shit. I'm gonna shove him aside. Beatrice can talk to me. Of course, her expression was still shameless. But in that really easy to understand expression of hers, I had the feeling I was able to catch a glimpse of loneliness at my failure to find the story of her past interesting. For some reason, that subtle reaction made her seem pitiful. So even though I kept my careless attitude, I decided to cover for her slightly. I mean, Bator seems unusually eager to shove aside the fact that Kinzo is kinda a yikes man. Damn it, even though she's an irritating witch, I'm still weak against her because her chromosomes are XX. You're such a piece of shit. Holy shit. But as I was saying, Avatar seems unusually eager to shove aside that Kinzo is very yikes. Like, consider this, if Beatrice was real, like a real human woman, and this happened in real life, he basically kept a woman captive. That's yikes, man.
信じる気は毛頭ねえけどよ。続けろよ。お茶菓子代わりに聞いてやるぜ。
わらわの身の上話が茶化扱いとはな。
Yeah, I would say that's like a background story that's straight up a trauma.
そこまでこき下ろされてまでのこのこ語ると思うか？
Yeah, right, Bator. You were really out of line. After I made fun of her, Beata reacted a little sensitively. It looked like, even though making fun of people was her specialty, she was horrible at being made fun of by others. I mean, you kind of picked the worst kind of thing to be sassy about. Just then, my black teacup suddenly made a sound, surprising me. Yes!
お嬢様の魂は捕らえられ、
He
新しい生
he
命の
looks
檻に
so
引き込まれ
ready
ました。
with that palm that he has raised to slap the shit out of Battle. Like, have some manners. Holy shit, the disrespect in this house. I cannot allow this. This is stepping over my butler lines. I cannot accept this.
それはつまり、お嬢様が再び人間として生を受けたということです。
Before I realized it, the demon butler had taken my cup and was adding more black tea to it. I hope you splash his face with it. I would.
ロノウェ、もうその話はよい。こやつはバカバカしくて危険というでな。わらわもバカバカしくて話す気にもならん。
It's a little bit of school child level of insult. If he thinks I'm too stupid to talk to, then I think he's stupid to talk to.
新しいクッキーを今焼かせているところでございます。
Oh, I want to see him in an apron.
それまでお茶菓子代わりに
I
お
want
嬢
a
様の
house
昔
husband
話が
Ronove.
ちょうどいいかと思いまして。
I want a house husband spin-off Ronove, like sitting at the meta world, waiting for tea, and he just brings it by. with some freshly baked cookies with a pink apron. Can you imagine how great that would be?
もうわらわの話は良いというのに。揃って不愉快な奴らだ。わらわは席を外すぞ。ロノウェ、給仕を済ませたらとっとと下がるのだぞ。バトラと無駄話などするでないぞ。
Talking to Batter is forbidden.
かしこまりました。
Olha aí, Pi, feliz ano novo atrasadíssimo. Feliz ano novo pra você também. Espero que teve um bom ano novo.
努力いたします。
She literally just alt F4 out of that building. Like, I'm so done with this. I can't believe you. And then just hits the alt F4 and leaves. Poor girl, poor woman though. Can't believe they just stomped all over her like that. Beata's short temper, peculiar to women, which I didn't really understand, took hold of her, and she turned her body into gold butterflies, scattered and disappeared. Wow. I'm gonna slap Battler. After that, only Ronove and the scent of black tea were left, and the imminent distant sound of the Shinelu that's coming exactly snipering at your direction. I'm gonna get you, Battler. You should feel bad. Oh man.
ご自覚があられるようですので、これ以上申し上げることはございません。
Yes, Ronove, shame him. Do it.
ちょっと待てよ。とどめを刺したのはお前だろうが。
No? I guess.
はて、何のことやら。お砂糖とミルクはいかがですかな？
I would like some sugar and milk.
ミルクだけでいいぜ。あと、お茶菓子も欲しいな。
クッキーが焼けるには、まだ時間がかかりますよ。
チャカの代わりがあるって言ったぜ。
かしこまりました。
Oh, he's going to continue the story for her.
ホムンクルスがなんとかって言ったな。一応は知ってるぜ。あれだろ？
I know a bit about that because I read the manga by Hiromu Arakawa, Full Metal Alchemist.
錬金術高で作り出せ人造人間のことだろ？
はい。お嬢様の魂はホムンクルスに閉じ込められ、
As a
再び
baby.
赤子となって生を受け、
Oh?
この世に蘇ったのです。
Oh my god.
しかし、赤子でございますから、金蔵様が愛を語ろうとも、それは無駄なことでございます。
Okay, good. You should not make professions of love to a baby. Don't be a Jacob.
まさかじい様はその赤ん坊をこの隠し屋敷に同じ年に成長するまで閉じ込めたってのか？
Okay, that's really fucked up.
はい。
Yikes! Yikes, my boys!
そのまさかでございます。しかし、
That's
魂が
called
同じと
grooming!
人間の魂は、そ
Yikes,
の
man!
強く影響を受けます。
I am running. Good, wow,
お
Kinzo
嬢
is
様
very, yeah,
か
it's
つて
very
の記
yikes.
憶をすべて失われ、ごく普通の人間の少女として成長されました。
Wow.
それが、そこのガーデンチェアに座ってるベアートだってのか？
はい、その通りでございます。まさに瓜二つに成長なされました。
Wow.
しかし魔女としての力は持ち合わせておりません。あくまでも人間としてのお嬢様なのです。
Beato, who was sitting in the garden chair, looking up at the sky, voiced that same question again. She asked who she was. The meaning of those words was finally starting to click. She couldn't understand why she was living here, all locked up. Grandfather had seized Beatrice's soul, shut it up in a body of flesh, and then shut that up in a hidden mansion. However, since she had lived here since the time of her birth, she couldn't even understand who she was, or why she lived shut up in there. That's so fucked up. Oh my god. Wait. Who would take such a stupid story seriously? I would, and that's very bad. Why did I change my interpretation? In other words, couldn't it be something like this? Grandfather met Beatrice. He then fell in love with her and courted her, but she didn't accept him. Then he flew into a rage and shut her up inside this deceived mansion. Beatrice tried to escape, but no matter what she did, she couldn't succeed. So she finally chose her own death. And then... no. Maybe there was a girl who looked just like Beatrice. No, a baby. Grandfather raised his child with care, but maybe he didn't view this child as his daughter. Ew! Ew! The soul was once again shut up in a cage of flesh. Those words probably meant that he didn't view this kid as her child, but as her reincarnation. Maybe that's what it meant. Ooh! If you interpret it that way, even a story this weird might make a little sense. Weird is putting it lightly. No. This might be some bullshit Beato cooked up to confuse me. As if I could accept any of this. This sounds plausible and it makes me afraid. In this place, Kuwadorian, was it? There's no proof whatsoever that a hidden mansion actually existed. Couldn't this be something she just fabricated on the spot? No? For her to take it so personally? Oh, thank you, Ronove. Thank you, Ronove, for backing me up. Oops! Ronove's like, oh, oops, I can use red too. Ronove used the red to say that Kuwadorian actually existed. Did that mean the same thing as the red Beato used? Yeah. Well, shit! Beato, who knew I would try to trip her up, had grown extremely cautious when using red. Do you think that Ronove could use the red? However, it was the red of a crafty man. I didn't know how far I could accept it. I can accept it in every way. But anyway, I might be able to get some kind of hint out of it.
このクワドリアンの庭でくつろいでいるベアトとさっきのじい様との会話は真実なのか？
はい、真実です。かつて実際にこの場所でお二人はこのような会話をなされました。
Oh shit!
助かるぜ。
Welp, you're welcome, Battler. Here's the big news. Kinzo is a weird as hell yandere and a G word.
あいつホムンクルスから生まれたなんて言いやがったが、そんな非科学的な魔法的存在実在するのか？
The other option is one that I can't think of, and I don't want to say it on stream because I'm afraid Twitch will actually hit me for that. And it's a very vicious thought. Oh, God. I hope Kinzo didn't do that, but it looks like the story is leading up to that.
理由はステイルメイトになるからでございます。
ステイルメイト？なんだそりゃ。
Oh no.
チェスの用語で千日手のパーペチュアルと同様にそれ以上のゲーム進行が不可能になる宣言です。これは千日手とは正反対で指し手がなくなるある種の手詰まりの状態を指します。パーペチュアルに同じでチェスではこれを引き分けにしております。ただしお嬢様とバトラ様のゲームでは引き分けがございません。ですのでステイルメイトになる質問には赤でお答えすることができないのです。
Okay, yeah, makes sense.
よくわからねえこと言って煙に巻いてるが、つまりホムンクルスなんて魔法的存在が実在するって赤で言えないからごまかしてるだけなんだろ？
Does it matter?
仮に私が赤で魔女は実在すると言ったらバトラ様は
それを信じるか信じないかで俺たちは大喧嘩してるんじゃねえかよ。それを言われちまったらゲームオーバーだ。
Pretty much, yeah.
魔女は存在すると赤で申し上げたなら
Oh, are you gonna do
バトラ
it?
様には反論の余地がありません。しかしバトラ様はその理由が示されない以上 それを受け入れないでしょう。しかし赤で語られる以上、反論の余地もなく証拠も示されない。この場合、敗北を認められないにもかかわらず、反論の手がなく手詰まりとなってしまいます。チェックメイトされていないにもかかわらず、次なる指し手が存在しない。
That's true, yeah.
バトラ様が
I
次の
mean,
一手
if
を打てない
Beatrice could
以
just
上、
say
お嬢
witches
様
are
に
real
手
in
番
red,
が
it
回
would
って
be
くる
like,
ことはなく、
it would be kind of cheating, right?
ゲームはそこで永遠に止まってしまう。その結果、お嬢様があなたを屈服させることもできない。
And that would be
これが
boring.
手詰まりの状態です。それを回避するため、このような形になるご質問には赤でお答えすることができないのです。
早い話が、身も蓋もない質問は禁止だと、そう言いたいわけだな。
I mean, that's your job to prove, I guess.
まあ、そりゃそうだよ
That's
な。
the whole point of this.
赤で魔女が実在するって言われちまったら、俺は花からお手上げだぜ。
ご理解いただけて助かります。他の形の質問でしたらご協力できるかと思いますよ。
奴がはぐらかした副賞要求には答えられるか。この島の人数だ。
No, don't tell him.
お嬢様が
Let
保
him
留されてい
flounder.
る副賞要求にももちろん答えられませんよ。
Yes.
お嬢様の家具でございますので、出過ぎた真似はできかねます。
Ronove made an exaggerated gesture, trying to act like a loyal retainer. This guy's so shameless.
一瞬でも使えるやつと思ったのによ。諦めて他の質問を探すか。そうだ、大事なことを確認するのを忘れてた。これはベアとの思い出話なんだろ。いつの話なんだ。まさか現在ってことはないだろ。
No?
はい。
She did say it's her
ここは
memory.
1967年の世界。
1967.
19年前の世界でございます。
19 years... 19 years ago? Are you meaning to tell me that Beatrice is like 19? Unless she is counting like from the beginning, like when Beatrice was kidnapped or whatever and then locked up in the mansion, then died and then was born, but then it means she's somewhere in the age bracket with Battler, right? Oh snap! Grandfather fell in an unrequited love with a person called Beatrice. Then he confined her in this hidden mansion and continued to court her. But she was stubborn and didn't give in. I suppose that took a few years. Eventually she grew pessimistic about being able to escape from here and probably committed suicide. And then her soul was put in a homunculus and... No, if I accept that, it's the same as accepting the witch. Either he stole a baby or, you know, I can interpret that part like this. She probably had a posthumous daughter. Okay, yeah. Grandfather must believe that her soul had been placed in a new physical body and might have thought that the child was a reincarnation of Beatrice. That means at least 19 years ago, Beato existed on this island as the 19th person. Okay.
混乱してきたぜ。
I too am starting to get
い
confused.
ずれにせよ、憶測の域を出ない。確実に赤で言えることは、1967年の六軒島の隠し屋敷に、人間としてのベアトリーチェが存在した。それだけだ。
その通りでございます。1967年の六軒島の隠し屋敷に、
Oh,
人
yeah,
間としてのベアト
67.
リーチェ様が存在した。
ああ、サンキュー。助かるぜ。
おめでとうございます。これでバトラ様の19人目の駒は、その存在がはっきりしました。
Okay, so he's technically helping
バ
him.
トラ様が熱望され
But
た
I'm also thinking it's
18
a
人以
trap.
外に罪をなすりつけられる19人目のいかなる罪をもなすりつけることのできる生贄の羊。
I feel like it's not that simple though.
それがお嬢様とは実に愉快。
I have the feeling that he's kinda trolling Battler. He did not say there's a 19th person in the island. Somehow I didn't like how he put that, so I didn't feel like laughing along with him. I get the feeling he's trolling us.
ローザおばさんは言った。ベアトリーチェは死んだ。
Did she kill a baby?
私が殺した？どういう意味なんだ？
それは私の口から語るよりも、
Or maybe she killed the
実
mistress.
際に顛末をご覧になった方が早いでしょう。少々時計を進めましょう。
Ronove pulled a stylish pocket watch from his pocket and touched the watch stem. As soon as he did, I saw gold butterflies gather behind his back and take the form of a person. Was it Beato? I quickly realized that it was someone else. Rosa? Oh! It was her. The oldest sister of the Seven Stakes who loved tormenting me more than her 3 meals a day. If I don't consider myself lucky to see that sexy ass, I won't be able to keep up with their torture game. Jesus fucking Christ, Battler. Go to horny jail, bonk!
ロノウェ様
Maybe put me in horny jail too. Look at her, she's so good looking.
まだこちらにおられましたか。ベアトリーチェ様が至急お呼びです。
Okay.
はて、至急のどのようなご用やら、少々バトラ様とのおしゃべりが過ぎたようですね。それではバトラ様、私めは
Not even the best sister in my opinion. Yeah, I can't believe that. A lot of the sisters do look great, but from personality wise, I still have to learn how most of them act. But a lot of their designs are good, so I can accept when Lucifer isn't the best one. I personally really like her design, but I'll have to see how her personality is like. So for now, I can't even say which sister I find the best. But Satan left a good impression on me.
せいぜい楽しむぜ。あんたはベアとより話が弾むからな。赤も気前よく使ってくれるしよ。ぜひまたおしゃべりに来いよな。
私めもこう見えてもお嬢様の家具。お嬢様が望まぬことはできませんよ。
I can do nothing that me lady does not desire.
本来ならお嬢様が自らの口で語るべきも
の。
へそを曲げてしまわれたお嬢様に代わって、
As she's
真実
so
を披露したに過ぎ
Ronove do my moves for me. I'm too insulted.
やっぱ俺へそを曲げてたよな。
Can you blame her? That was mean, Battler. Come on. Seeing me and Ronove incomprehensibly hitting it off, that steak Nesan cocked her head curiously.
ロノウェ様、ベアトリーチェ様をお待たせしております。お急ぎを。
ええ、直ちに参ります。
Don't go! Take me with
you! ようやく仲良くなれてきましたね。やはり良い友人になれる気がします。
I guess.
ベアとの陰口仲間ってことならな。
ロノウェ様。
はいはい。
Yes, yes.
それでは失礼いたします。
Maybe she didn't like seeing him act so friendly with me, or maybe she really had been told to hurry. When the snake Chan let out her thunderous cry, Ronove laughed frivolously and disappeared, as if running away. Like... Speaking of, since he disappeared real quick, I'll also excuse myself and go to the bathroom. Alright, I'm back.
煉獄の七杭が長女のこの私がこの程度の用事で呼びつけられるなんて。ベアトリーチェ様もこの程度なら他の暇そうな妹たちに言いつければいいのに。
Nothing better to do. I had stuff to do, like playing Candy Crush on my phone.
何をカリカリしてんだよ、姉ちゃん。腹減ってんならクッキーでも食えよ。最後の一枚をくれてやるぜ。
No.
Or?
Or?
気が利くじゃない。なら一ついただこうかしら。
And then she rams it into Battler's eye. I casually push the snake plate with the last remaining cooking over to her.
ありがとう。
And then she stabs him. As though coming as a period at the end of the sentence, a sharp sound pierced the table. The nails of 3 of her fingers extended grew sharp and pierced the space between my fingers on the hand that was pushing the plate, missing them by a hair's breadth, which had happened in an instant, so for a while, I didn't even realize that her fingernails had grown. She's showing off her manicure! The tips of those sharp nails were like blades with a red manicure. See? She is showing off her manicure! The spaces between the bases of my fingers hurt sharply. Those razor-sharp blades had been plunged into the table of a hair's breadth away from the back of my hand and my fingers. Because of those 3 blades, I was unable to even let my careless right hand tremble, and by now, all I could do was let a bead of cold sweat drip down.
姉ちゃん、そろそろ爪を切った方がいいぜ。
No, they're great!
ルシファーよ。それが誇り高き私の名。ベアトリーチェ様にお仕えする名誉ある家具。煉獄の七杭が長女。他の面汚しなグマイどもとはわけが違うの。
Don't diss your sister like
それに見合
that.
った敬意を示さないと後悔することになるわよ。
That I agree. Show some respect, Battler. Respect
どう後
women.
悔するんだか。
Respect women in this house.
俺には見当もつかねえぜ。
バカな子ね。そんなに遊んでほしいの？そんなに忘れられないの？私の悔いを思いっきり奥の奥までねじ込んでたっぷりえぐって楽しませてあげるわよ。
Well, you asked for it, I guess.
クソったれ。いつか押し倒して同じセリフ言ってやるぜ。
あらそう？楽しみにしてるわね。
She's basically like, yeah, okay, Zoomer. And she killed him. Just for fun. Rosa eventually regained her calm. The men wanted to hurry her into talking faster, but Kitty intervened. If something like that really had happened, then it would have been a terrible experience that Rosa wouldn't want to remember. After taking several deep breaths with her hand over her chest, it seemed that she had more or less resolved herself to talk. Okay.
多分
Tell.
中学生かよく覚えてない。とにかくそのくらいの頃だったと思うわ。
ってことはだいたい20年くらい前ってとこか。
Middle school. Okay, so I think Rosa might be in her 30s now.
あの頃の私はあまり成績が良くなくて、私なりに努力していたつもりだったんだけど、お母様の期待には全然応えられなくて。
母上はローザにも随分厳しかったな。
Only with Rosa?
当時は
Jesus.
同情していたよ。
陰口ばっかだったくせによく言うわね。
You two-faced hair, man!
それで
You are two-faced, you little... you little hacker?
ローザさんはどこでベアトリーチェに会ったんや。
秀吉さん、今はせかしてはダメよ。いいのよ、ローザさん。楽に話して。
ありがとう。あれは
Kitty is the only homie in this house I can trust, I
ひどく
guess.
叱られた日よ。
Do tell what happened. Even though my tutor had promised to keep it a secret, apparently they told Mother all about how I had complained. Mother scolded me brutally, saying my name was a disgrace to the Shiromiya family. Jesus fucking Christ, this whole family is trash. Of course I was doing the best I could. But I had none of Kraus Nisan's dignity. I couldn't get excellent grades like Eva Nisan, and I had no leadership abilities like Rudolf Nisan. I never stood out. I didn't particularly excel at anything. And I found myself asking why I'd even been born into the Shiromiya family. I began to question more and more why I'd even been born at all. This is what happened one day. I experienced my mind going blank for the first time. Jeez, that's rough. For the first time in my life, I realized that in addition to facing or surrendering to my problems, I had the third choice of running away. Though I say run away, there was no way I could have left Rokkenjima and gone somewhere else. But anyway, I wanted to run away from the mansion and my own self at that time. In a way, it was like a kid running away from home, or maybe a passive sort of suicide.
いなくなりたかったの。あるいはいなくなることによって親を心配させたいという子供なりの反抗だったのかも。私は森の遥か奥に行けば後宮の家から逃れられる。あるいは迷子になって心配させることで仕返しができると。子供が
それで行ってはいけないと言われていた森に。
ええ、浜辺へ出てから海に沿うように。特に理由があったわけじゃないけれど、島をぐるりと回ればその反対側には誰も知らない場所があって、私だけの隠れ家になるような気がしたの。
浜辺からぐるっとってのは無理だな。途中で崖になっちまうだろう。あんなとこ通れるわけがねえぞ。
A cliff, okay.
もちろんよ。だから通れる方へ通れる方へ、とにかく奥へ奥へ進んだわ。道なんかないひどい森だったけど、あの時の私にはそれが心地よかったの。それほどの険しい森を抜けたなら、その分後宮家から逃れられるって。
情けないわね。
All you had to do was work harder. Oh man. It sounds easy when when you are the youngest sibling getting like beaten to shit by everyone else, right?
その代わりローザにはデザイナーとしての才能があったじゃないか。
Literally speaking, he was covering for Rosa, but everyone knew that Rosa's company hadn't been profitable. That's rough.
よせよ。今は嫌味を言ってる場合じゃねえぜ。そして偶然たどり着いちまったんだな、ベアトリーチェの隠し屋敷に。
Rosa nodded weakly.
どのくらい歩いたんや。地図で場所が示せるんか。夏さん、この島の地図はあるかいな。
いえ、今ここにはありませんが。
無理よ。適当に歩いただけだもの。地図を見せられたってわからないわ。それにあれから20年も経ってる。
Yeah, it's hard to remember something like
多
that.
分森へ行っても二度とたどり着けないわ。
Several people let out dejected sighs. It was vividly clear that in their haste they thought some hint related to the witch's epitaph, or maybe even the gold itself might be resting there.
六軒島はこの屋敷の周りが整地されているだけに過ぎねえ。他は完全に未開で、前頭測量は相当の手間がかかるだろうな。
でも確かに存在すると分かっただけでも収穫よ。お金はかかるだろうけど、例えば航空写真の会社に調査を頼むとか、このお屋敷を建設した業者に当時のことを聞くとか、調べる方法はあるかもしれないわね。
Yeah, that's just ask the designer, I guess.
あるかないかもわからないものを探すよりはまだ方法があるはずよ。
早速調べる価値があるだろう。
Might as well.
その調査は兄弟合同でやるわよ。兄さん一人ではさせないわ。
It wasn't yet certain that the gold was hidden in that secret mansion, but the sparks seemed to have started flying between Kraus and Eva already.
兄貴たち、今はよせよ。
They are ready to throw hands.
ローザ、 続きを話してくれ。
They're gonna do a schnitzeljagd and throw hands. Blindly, randomly, I kept running on and on. Suddenly I came across something I thought was an animal trail. I was very tired and had no idea how far I'd walked. So at that time, I naturally took the easiest path. Oh! As I did, suddenly right before my eyes, a very tall fence appeared. It's a pretty one. It was a fence wonderfully adorned in a Gothic style. For an instant, I thought I got turned around and returned to the original mansion. Of course, there were fences around the mansion to stop us from entering the forest, but this fence was decorated differently, and moreover, it was very tall. Probably reached a full 2 stories up. It was covered with ivy and created a mysterious solemn atmosphere. At the time, I believed in the legend of the witch of the forest, Beatrice. I had been told that she was frightening, but some of the servants told me that she'd sometimes help you if you respected her. Since I had little confidence in those days, I believed the only way I could be saved was by receiving her help. That's why I thought what I did. I believed that this was the fence of the mansion belonging to Beatrice, the witch of the forest. I thought that if I could meet with Beatrice, she'd definitely save me. So I decided to try going in. But the fence was very tall, and it didn't look like I'd be able to go over it. But I chose to walk around it. I thought that if I did, I'd eventually reach a gate. But it wasn't that easy. The fence had an incredible length to match its incredible height, and no matter how far I went, I didn't reach a corner. I might have encircled a massive area. Or maybe I just had that impression because my child's legs made it difficult to walk in the forest. Anyway, I couldn't find a gate for a while, and I started to feel sad, as though the witch had rejected me. As I did, I eventually came up to a large tree, whose twisted root had bent over the fence. It might get my clothes dirty, but if I crawled, it looked like I'd be able to sneak in.
そこが隠し屋敷だったの。
おー！
あれが私たちの言う隠し屋敷なのかはわからない。でも少なくとも私たちの知る場所ではなかったわ。
So we have a new location. It wasn't as though I came out into a garden as soon as I passed the fence. I had to continue through a lot more uncultivated forest after that. What we gonna see? Also, this song is also new, if I recall. As I did, the forest suddenly opened up, and what appeared there was an unbelievably fantastical scene. To think that, on Rokkenjima, where I thought only we lived, there could be such a wonderful mansion hidden away. A beautiful flower garden spanned to the front of the mansion. It was a flower garden of a completely different design from the rose garden we know so well, and it was very lovely. Of course, the mansion was also wonderful. It was a couple of sizes smaller than ours, but it was still elegant and adorable at the same time. And then I saw her figure. I saw her sitting in the garden chair, positioned to give a view of the flower garden, wearing an elegant dress. It was that black dress embroidered in gold that we would later know from the portrait. I hadn't seen an elegant dress like that, except in fairy tales and on stage of musicals. For a person to be wearing it as their normal clothes, that in itself seemed quite fantastical. That mysterious scene was enough to make me lose my sense of reality. Oh! Is this maybe another reason why Beatrice could be treating Rosa with exceptional cruelty in chapter 2? And like... with spite? Like, if she really met Beatrice, as we know her, and then she denied her because she killed her. Oops, sorry. Because she killed her. Yeah, that's pretty oof. If someone had told me that then that it was a dream, I might have nodded obediently and waited to wake up in my bed. I had forgotten to hide myself in my shock, so she eventually spotted me. At first her expression was quite listless, but when she noticed me, her eyes opened very wide. It was only natural, considering that a guest she didn't know had suddenly appeared. I lowered my head automatically, planning to greet her and apologize for entering without permission, but then...
そなたは誰か新しい庭師なのか
Oh? Those were the first words she said to me. I grew slightly calmer, because I realized that we could talk to each other. Because I hadn't been turned into a frog just by meeting her eyes, like a terrifying witch in a fairy tale.
ごめんなさい。勝手にお庭に立ち入ってすみません。そなたは誰か名乗るがよい。後宮ローザと言います。
Oh?
後宮。おお、金蔵の一族の人間なのか？
Oh, she knows.
はい、金蔵の娘です。こんにちは。
I was a little surprised. After all, father was a great man, feared by everyone. And yet she had spoken of him without using honorifics. So I was immediately terrified of her. After all, if she could refer to my fearsome father that way, she must be a witch with an incredible power. After staring at me curiously, she beckoned me to come over. The voice is different, yeah. In the flashback scenes that we had so far, Beatrice's voice is very much more sweet and way less imposing. After staring at me curiously, she beckoned me to come over. Frightened as I was, I obeyed. After all, I thought she might really turn me into a frog. The closer I got, the stronger that fear became. After all, as I keep saying over and over, that woman and her dress and the flower garden and the mansion, that whole picture was so fantastical and beautiful that it seemed separate from reality. It probably wouldn't have surprised me at all to learn that she really was a witch. Okay, so this Beatrice is probably the first Beatrice that Kinzo tried to escort and later died. And not like baby Beatrice. Because if it happened like somewhere in the 19 age bracket with Battler, then this is likely the first Beatrice. And I really was lucky. She hadn't turned me into a frog. As I awkwardly stood there, stock still, she motioned to an open chair and urged me to sit down. Oh no! She's cute! Help!
初めて訪れた者を庭へ招き、語らうのがわらわの唯一の楽しみよ。
She's so cute!
他に何の楽しみもないがな。
As I said this, she let an unhappy smile show for just an instant. Because I was full of a strange mix of tension and excitement, I rudely asked her a question all of a sudden.
森の魔女、ベアトリーチェですか？いかにも、わらわがベアトリーチェである。
Yes, I definitely took a screenshot.
やはりな、ベアトリーチェは実在したんだ。
その姿はまさに肖像画の。
Yes.
ええ、まさにあの肖像画の通りよ。
お父さんの想像の中の魔女じゃなかったんやな。
I guess not.
あなたは彼女と何を話したの？
It was his extremely unhealthy obsession on a woman.
彼女はお茶を入れながら私のことをいろいろと聞いたわ。まず森を抜けてやってきたことを驚かれた。彼女は柵の外には危険な狼がたくさんいると信じていたみたいだった。だから私が森を抜けてたどり着いたと言ったらとても驚いていたわ。どうやって狼から逃れたのか、ビスケットそれとも魔法の街灯をかぶってなんて感じのことを言ってたっけ。
Oh wow.
そりゃ確かに魔女っぽいわな。 面白いお人や。
あなた黙って。ずいぶん昔だけど、お父様は森には狼が住んでいるから近寄ってはならないって
Yes, he did say
私たち
that.
を脅さなかった？
ああ、そんなこともあったな。バカらしいね。日本の狼はとっくの昔に絶滅しているというのに。
Oh, did they? Okay,
まさ
that's
に
sad.
子供騙しだな。
記憶にねえな、そんな話。親父に聞かされたっけ？森には魔女だろ？狼なんて話聞いたことないぜ。
Maybe probably because Kraus and Eva were old enough to be like, but that's bullshit.
あんたがまだ小学校だった頃よ。覚えてない？そしたらあんた、むしろ狼を撫でてみたいなんて言い出すもんだから。
Gude Rudolph is confirmed to be a dog person. Pass it on.
お父様はすぐに狼の話を引っ込めて魔女の話に切り替えたのよ。
Kinzo's like, children do not go in the forest. There are man-eating wolves there. And then Rudolph is like, I want to pet the wolves.
もうその嘘っぽいことと言ったら。
He brings the wolf home and then asks Kinzo, can I keep him?
当時のルドルフには狼よりも魔女の話の方がてきめんだったね。
He just wants a dog. Let
よ
him
く
be.
覚えているよ。私の背中にしがみついた夜があったことを覚えているかね。
That's cute.
ルドルフさんにもそんな可愛らしい時代があったのね。
うるせえな、子供の頃の話だぜ。
Yeah, a
Ma,
kid who
とに
wanted
か
to
く
pet wolves.
ベアトリーチェを閉じ込めていたのがお父さんなら、同じ狼の話をするのは道理ね。彼にとって六軒島の広大な森は、後ろ宮家と愛人の屋敷という相入れない二つの異世界を分断する越えてはならない壁だったのだから。
柵の高さを考えると、どうやら親父殿は庭ごと丸々を座敷牢にしたようだな。
He really did the Animal Crossing
二つの
thing,
世界を分ける国
where he
境も
just
同
gets a
然だった
villager and traps them in one place. Christ.
狼はともかく野犬の類でもいたのではありませんか？
Oh, dogs.
そのための策だったかもしれません。
That's possible.
六軒島に狼も野犬もいないわ。
That's sad. It's a dog-free island. 0 out of 10.
その策は兄さんやキリエさんの言うようにベアトリーチェと私たちの間の国境だったんでしょうね。
I cannot
しかし
appreciate an island that doesn't
狼
have
の話を
dogs.
素直に信じるなんてなんちゅうか純朴やな。わしの想像していた魔女とは随分違う感じやで。
そうね、それは私も感じたわ。とても尊大で、確かに魔女のイメージ通りの人だったんだけど、どこかとても子供っぽくて、なんていうのか素直すぎるというか、
I see.
世間知らずな印象を受けたわ。
I mean, if she was brought there and
例え
locked
るな
up
ら
there?
本当におとぎの国の人みたいというか、本当に不思議な人だったわ。
それからどうしたんだ？親父の話とかは出たのか？
ええ、何日かに一度約束されている日もあれば突然の日もあったそうだけど、ふらりとお父様が訪れては一緒にお茶を飲んだり散歩したりしたんですって。
Mm-hmm.
私が訪れたその日はたまたま彼女一人だったと言っていたわ。
Oh, so Kinzo keeps coming over in many days.
なるほどな。まさに愛人といったところだ。やれやれ。いくつ年下か知らんが、親父殿もやるね。
Good for father? No? He kept a woman captive.
いかがわしい意味での交流はなかったと確信しています。
No, it was very indecent from what Beatrice told me.
男と女の多さに色気がないはずないじゃない。
Kraus A. Yeah.
それでどうしたの？
Kraus, be careful what you say. This is why you're not the next head.
それから何の話を？
私の自己紹介をしたので逆に彼女のことを質問したわ。 そうしたら
Natsu's face is a mood.
急に
Yeah, mine too.
雰囲
Whenever
気が
Klaus
落ち込ん
opens
で
his
しまっ
mouth,
たの。
that's my mood.
なんていうのか、とても気だるそうな、寂しそうな
Oh.
私が初めて彼女の顔を見た時に浮かべていたのと同じ。
まあ秘密の愛人だからな。好き勝手に歩かれてお袋に見つかっちまったらことだ。
And then it would have been a cat fight.
きっと軟禁に近い状態だったろう。
House arrest is putting it lightly.
綺麗なドレスに綺麗な屋敷や庭があってもさぞや窮屈な思いをしてたんだろうぜ。
Yeah,
そりゃ苦労もあったろうさ。
very much so. I agree.
彼女はきっと何か悩みがあった。それを私に話したところで、私もとても悲しかったのを覚えてる。私と一緒にいることさえ忘れてしまったかのようで、遠くをぼんやり見ながらずっと無言でいたわ。
I guess she was
私はきっ
depressed.
と失言してしまったに違いないと思ったんだけど、謝罪の言葉すらも口にしていいような雰囲気じゃなくて、だから私も彼女が私と一緒にいることを思い出してくれるまでずっと黙ってた。
And then she muttered unexpectedly.
柵の向こうには本当に狼などおらぬのか。え？はい、狼なんて動物園でも見たことないです。動物園とは何か。
What is a zoo? This soundtrack is based. Yeah, I agree. It's good.
ああ、いろんな動物が飼われているところです。象とかキリンとかパンダとか珍しい動物が。動物園に狼はいないのか。
Actually, yes, but
ならその怖くないかもしれんな。狼がいたとしても動物はみんな檻に入ってますから安全です。だから安心して見学できるんですよ。
the mighty witch of the forest was apparently terrified of wolves. I remember that it looked pretty funny to me at the time.
それはわらわとどう違うのか。
She didn't know about zoos. I explained how fun zoos could be, but it was very difficult for a person like her who had never visited one to understand. On the contrary, as I explained it to her, her expression grew increasingly dismal. She couldn't see the difference. Apparently, even though she lived in an elegant mansion that was surrounded by a high fence and seemed to lack for nothing, she couldn't see how she was any different from an animal shut up in cages.
わらわは何者なのか。皆はわらわのことをベアトリーチェと呼ぶ。それは確かにそなたの言うように偉大な魔女の名前らしい。
I can imagine this Beatrice in particular, like the first one before she died, that she maybe might have been a different person, and Kinzo just forced the Beatrice identity on her.
しかしそれはわらわではないのだ。
See?
わらわには魔法など何も使えぬ。わらわはその魔女の魂を好みに封じられているだけなのだ。
I think this Beatrice is not the Beatrice we know. There was definitely something odd about her. Beyond just being cut off from the world, it seems she truly believed that magic exists. I think she talked about lots of weird things, but I don't remember the details. All I thought was that this might be a person to be pitied. She was unable to leave this mansion of her own free will, a prisoner without even realizing it. And she didn't know anything about the outside world, didn't even understand who she was. She probably vaguely realized that she was to be pitied. But since she didn't know anything, she seemed incapable of recognizing her own unhappiness. Long ago, when I told Nesan that I felt sorry for a bird in a cage, she said this. A bird that only knows about the inside of the cage doesn't long for the outside. But this wasn't a bird. She really was a person. Even if she had never been outside the cage, she understood that there was more to the world. So, I invited her.
柵の外へ出てみますか。本当に狼はいないのか。いないですよ。絶対平気ですから。 出たいぞ。だがいつも門は閉まっている。私が入ってきたところがあります。くぐり抜けられる隙間があるんです。そこを抜ければ外の世界があるのか。はい。狼は本当にいない？はい、いませんよ。
Oh, this is cute. I really like this interaction. I'd only planned on inviting her to go on a short walk, but she kept looking over her shoulder at the mansion as though she was seriously worrying over the decision. Then I learned what she was preparing herself for. Oh, is this when she decides to, you know, die? Or more like she didn't intend to die, but more like wanted to look outside and then accidentally an unfortunate accident happens. I didn't know what her life had been like before then. It was probably something she couldn't express easily. If it was hard, she just had to say she wanted to escape. If it was sweet, she just had to say she'd stay. For example, maybe it was like how a hot fireplace on a winter day makes the air get thicker and thicker, giving you a headache. Even though you know you shouldn't keep things the way they are, you still need the courage to open the window and be tormented by the cold wind. She was starting to realize that she couldn't stay there forever. She was starting to realize that she had to go outside someday. But since she didn't know about the outside world, she must have needed the courage to take that unspeakable first step outside. And despite that, she had made her decision. She voiced her decision to go outside, a decision she was probably making for the first time in her life. I hesitated for a moment. Father had decided that she should live here. She was like Father's beloved bird in the cage. If I just let her escape, Father might scold me harshly.
見たい。え？何を？動物園が見たいのだ。
She's so cute! Help! Help! Heart eyes emoji. I was just a little surprised when she finally gave me a gentle smile. Could that have been a farsightedness brought about by her decision to venture out from her cage? It was a smile so gentle, I couldn't imagine that it had come from that one stark fence. Face, sorry.
知らないことばかり出てくる。わらわは学校なるものもわからぬし、動物園も知らぬ、映画館も知らぬ、遊園地も知らぬ。そしてそれを知りたいと心の底から思う。そなたはわらわをそこへ連れて行ってくれるのか？
I was nervous about how I could keep it a secret from Father, but her face looked so happy, I went along with her and nodded. But she seemed not to notice the meaning behind my vague smile. She seemed to believe that I'd really take her to all those places. She was pure and genuine. She'd probably never been tricked by anyone, by Kinzo probably. No, maybe it's better to say she'd never learned how to doubt. Her smile was somehow radiant, yet pathetic. I wanted to find a way to grant her modest wish.
わらわはもうベアトリーチェは嫌だ。わらわが何者なのか、ベアトリーチェではない新しい人間を始めたい。
Oh, and then she just goes back to being Beatrice anyhow.
だから
Or more like
ここから連れ出して
she
ほしい。
disappears into nothing.
もう紅茶もいらぬ、ドレスもいらぬ、金蔵とも二度と会わぬ。ここよりわらわを連れ出してくれ、ローザ。
However, that responsibility was one that a child like me couldn't hope to fully bear. Still, when I saw her serious gaze, along with that brilliant smile that made it look as though a possessing spirit had left her, I could feel a little courage start to rise up inside of me. This was definitely something that would get me into a lot of trouble. And yet, it was definitely the right thing to do. I don't know how it will turn out, but I'll take her away from here. Of course, I won't be able to talk to Father and not Mother either. Should I talk to Anisama Ayone-sama? No, what about that reliable Genji-san? or that's right, maybe about Kumasawa-san, to whom I can always talk when I'm in trouble. Kumasawa is a good woman. I'm sure they'll be able to do something. Maybe this is the reason why in chapter 1 Rosa gave Kumasawa a gift. Because she's the one nice person in this family. Anyway, for now, I'll take her out of here. This was already a place she didn't want to be. So I took her to the crack in the fence and led her outside. She was all nervous, checking to make sure there were no wolves around, but once that fear disappeared, even just walking around this dense forest seemed to be fun somehow. Every time she found something, she'd ask me about it, and they were all really trivial things. What's that flower? What's that leaf? And that sound, and that smell. It was like the inside of that fence had been her entire world. So now that she traveled beyond the limits of her world, it's strange. When I first saw her, I really thought she was the witch herself, realizing inside the witch's mansion. But now it was different. Or actually the complete opposite. She'd left a world she believed to be finite, and was overjoyed at the realization that the world was endless, something she'd never thought of before. So everything she saw was new. It was almost as though she was the one who had been thrown into a fairy tale. If she was Alice, then I felt something like a rabbit holding a watch. To her, it was probably a really fun walk, filled to the brim with excitement, but I was actually at a loss at what to do. After all, I walked randomly to get there. Of course I didn't know the way back to our mansion. There were no lights in the forest, and I hadn't brought a flashlight. I realized it would be terrible if it got dark while we were still like this, and grew impatient. She was too innocent, and apparently she couldn't understand at all how frightening it would be to face the night inside the forest. But I was the one who brought her outside. I had to take responsibility somehow and resolve the situation. So I had thought, let's go out to the ocean for now. If we then follow the beach around, we should eventually make it back to the mansion. However, that was much more of a problem than I'd imagined. I didn't have a map or a compass. There was no way I could walk in a straight line through an uncultivated forest, and I immediately lost my sense of direction. I already had no clue which trail I had come by and was completely lost. At this rate, night would definitely fall before I had a clue where to walk. But this was no time to cry. After all, that woman following behind me was so innocent and having so much fun. So I definitely had to lead the way through this forest, for the sake of her smile as well. Gritting my teeth so that she didn't see me looking troubled, I pushed my way through the woods, advancing down a path that wasn't a path. Oh, we made it. Then after going through various troubles, I fortunately managed to reach the ocean. At that time, I didn't even have a clue where I was on the island, but for the time being, I was just a little reassured, realizing that if I just went around this way, I surely would be able to return to the mansion. However, though I had reached the ocean, we were at the top of a rock cliff. The beach was far below us. I was tired from walking around the forest for so long, so I figured that an open area, even a rocky beach, would probably be much easier to walk in. So I suggested that we go down a rocky cliff somehow. It looked pretty dangerous, but I figured there was no other way. However, Beatrice agreed to my plan without any doubts. With that dress, even though she was probably older than me, she meekly obeyed, almost as though she were some kind of chick who thought I was her mother. Oh shit, that doesn't look good. I searched to see if there was some part of the cliff I'd be able to get down. Then I found a place where the cliff had fallen over and made a slope. It looked a little dangerous, but if I went down using both hands and both legs like I was crawling, I thought I'd probably be okay.
ここを降りましょう。気をつけないと危ないけど、とにかく海岸に降りて、あとは沿って歩けば、もう迷わずに済むと思うの。うん。ローザがそうするのならそうしようぞ。
I don't think that's gonna be a good idea with that dress.
わらわは迷うとやらも楽しいぞ。とても愉快だ。
She really had no sense of danger. There was probably no doubt that she lived a life without discomfort. Even though she knew it would get dark when night fell, she couldn't imagine how dangerous the inside of a forest could be without light. Furthermore, it seemed that she couldn't grasp at all how dangerous it might be if she fell from the cliff. I warned her repeatedly to be careful. I cautiously examined our potential route down. It seemed to be quite a long drop. I think it might have been about 10 meters down. if you looked at it from the bottom up, it would probably have looked shorter than the roof of the mansion. But looking from the top, it felt almost like staring down from the observation room on Tokyo Tower. But Beatrice still appeared to be completely without fear. I felt as though she had never been thought that high places were dangerous. Now maybe she believes that she was a witch, and that she could fly, so that there wasn't any need to worry.
気をつけてくださいね。結構高いから。
And then she's like, I'll be fine, and then she slips and boom.
気をつけるぞ。下へ降りたら海があるな。そこに水族館があるのか。
No?
いえ。
But it's
この
pretty...
島には水族館はないですよ。でも海にはたくさんの魚がいると思います。そうか、魚はいるのか。
Yes.
そなたが話してくれたクジラとかイルカとかペンギンとかはいるのか。
If you go very far into the ocean, then maybe you can find some whales.
そういうのは水族館に行かないといないです。水族館は島を出ないとないですよ。そうなのか。だが楽しみだ。クジラとはどんな魚なのか。
First of all, they're mammals.
すっごく大きな魚で、あれ？哺乳類かな。それで潮を吹いたりします。ほう。ならばイルカは？
They are also mammals.
頭のいい魚で、あれ？これも哺乳類だっけ？とても頭が良くて芸とかを覚えられるんですよ。
Yes, they can be very smart.
ならばペンギンはどうなのか。
Penguins are birds.
あれ、これは鳥類だっけ。なんだ、水族館なのにさっきから魚が出てこんぞ。まあその魚だけでなくいろいろな海の生き物がいっぱいいるんですよ。
Yes, a shark is a fish though.
それはとても楽しみだ。
And and there she goes. She let out what might have been a funny, rushed and short cry. No, it was probably a scream. It came right out of the blue. Her body separated from the cliff and silently fell. I immediately wanted to say something to her. I wanted to say, didn't I tell you to be more careful? It was the thought of a child. It was how a child immediately gets mad when something bad happens, trying to find an excuse to show that it wasn't their fault. Of course I said it out loud. Are you okay? Didn't I warn you over and over? But she died. Oh shit, she died. Oops.
それで崖から落ちてどうなったんだ。
And then she died.
彼女はどうしたんだ、ローザ。
She died! Rosa fell silent. Her gaze dropped to her feet, as though she were seeing through the floor into some disgusting memory. Eva's brutal words were the ones Rosa had most wanted to avoid. And when she was hit with them, she screamed in resignation.
死んだわ。岩浜だったもの。尖った危険な岩がたくさんむき出しになっていた。
Ouch.
目を見開いたまま、すごい血が溢れ出して、たちまち真っ赤な絨毯を広げていった。
Ah, jeez.
声をかけたわ。揺さぶったわ。でも彼女は返事はおろか、瞬きすらも。
Yikes.
私が悪いのよ。彼女はドレス姿だったのよ。あんな動きにくい格好なのを知っていたのに、私が歌舞伎を降りようなんて言ってしまったから。
Ah, jeez.
彼女はすごい素直だったから、私の言うことに何の疑いもせずに従って。
いつまで死んでいるつもりか。
She has been telling this whole story while Batter has been there, lying dead.
いい加減に目を覚ませ。まったく。わらわの預かり知れぬところで勝手に肉塊に姿を変えようって。
So, lump of flesh, let me tell you about the story how my first body died.
おめえのとこの太もも姉ちゃんとイチャついてただけだぜ。
Ass Nichan. Jesus. Go to horny jail to electric boogaloo.
それより、これはどういうことだ？
見たままよ。わらわは足を踏み外して転落し、死んだ。
なんだと？19人目として登場しておきながら
She died.
死んだだと？ふざけるな。そんなわけはない。ローザおばさんは子供だったし焦ってた。医者がいたわけでもない。多分死んだと誤解しただけで、お前は多分その
Alive and pretending to be dead. Wow, what a stretch.
そうだろ。
It can't be true. She's got to be alive. Otherwise, how can she be there? You forgot the baby part. The kid-aged Aunt Rosa shook Beatrice's body, crying. I stared into that face too. But her eyes were still open, and it really was a corpse. I wanted to dodge the issue by saying something vague, like, she must be playing dead. But no matter how I looked at it, it didn't look fake at all. It really did look like she was dead. Beatrice had fallen upside down from a cliff of that height. Oh yeah, that skull has been shattered. And her head had smashed against the pointed tip of those sharp rocks. Yeah, like I said, her skull is shattered. Yeah, you probably would die after landing on those rocks from that height. But I couldn't accept it. No matter how dead she looked, she had to be alive. Then she went on to become this darn, damn irritating witch. Batter, you have the memory of a goldfish! That makes all the inconsistencies fit. Grandfather must have kept her confined constantly in a hidden mansion. And to take revenge for that, she committed several atrocious murders. Aunt Rosa probably just mistakenly thought she was dead. But she was actually alive. As soon as Aunt Rosa left, would miraculously breathe again. Then she somehow lived on until today and opened the curtain on her revenge drama. I can't believe it. Otherwise, the facts don't fit together. Why do you keep forgetting the homunculus baby?
そう簡単には騙されねえぞ。
Battler's attention span is so bad, it hurts me.
赤で復唱できるか？確かに死んだと。どうせ生きてるんだろ？見え見えだぜ。
それのどこが生きているように見えるというの？
Yeah, I mean, okay, let me say this in red too. You are an idiot.
間違いなく死んでいる。
Oh my god, my theory that the 19th person was grandfather's mistress, a human Beatrice, had been defeated. I planned to strike back from a defensive point, but...
なら、お前は何者だってんだ？
The homunculus, baby! Ooh, do I have to write it in a neon sign?
お前はたった今、死んだ。まさか魔法で蘇ったとか言い出すんじゃねえだろうな。
It's like how my mom asks me when I don't understand something. Tem que desenhar pra você, seu burro!
すでに説明したと思うがな。そこに倒れているわらわは確かに魂はわらわだが、
Yes.
その体はわらわをうつしおへつなぎ止めておく肉の檻に過ぎなかったと。
Let's call her Beatrice .1.
そしてその肉の檻がこうして壊れた。それがどういうことかわかるか？
もうさっぱりだぜ。好きなだけ魔女っ子トークに興じろよ。チャカの代わりに聞いてやら。なんだ、空っぽか。
Yes. I mean, accepting the homunculus explanation would be the same as accepting magic, so I get why he doesn't consider it. I mean, yeah, that's true, but there was, in fact, a baby who, after Beatrice, the first Beatrice died, right? So, technically, Batra already gave the explanation how it would be possible for a baby to exist without the homunculus, basically by saying that Kinzo had a child with his mistress, probably without consent either, yeah. And yeah, then that's how the baby existed. The third alternative would be he stole a baby. If he didn't want to believe that Kinzo did the alternative thing, you know? But the fact is, it has been said in Red that the conversation that Kinzo and Beatrice were having, that Ronove showed, he said in Red, that conversation took place, and that was the second body that Beatrice had. So there are three options. Either it's a homunculus, which would probably not be the case. Two, it's the alternative, which Battle probably would not want to accept. The third is he stole a baby. I mean, he does take a lot of servants, right? From where Shannon and Kanon came from, so maybe he got it from there.
Ronove, 客人が紅茶をお望みだ。
Yes, Ronove, I would like some tea, me as well, and I would like to order a square slap across the face of Beato because I can't stand him tonight. When Beato clapped her hands, Ronove appeared. Can I do that too? Can I clap my hands and maybe Ronove appears in person? I tried. Maybe he'll appear someday. I wouldn't put it past Kinzo. Yeah, me neither. That would be like my third, more idealized explanation. It's still bad because it would still mean he groomed the baby. Hello, sir.
Hello.
Me lady, could you make me a tea?
Yes, what kind of tea do you want?
Hatsuyama.
Okay,
Okay. So, Ronove real life version appeared in my room. He's going to bring me some tea.
おかわりですね。
A refill, you say?
かしこまりました。どの程度お継ぎしましょうか。
A whole cup, please.
どうせチャカがボリューム満点だろうからよ。半分でいいぜ。
それでもなみなみとお入れするのが英国式でございますよ。
Even though just enough to wet my throat would have been fine, he filled it to the top. I turned my back to Beato, sipping it in silence.
ちょっと目を覚ましてよ、ベアトリーチェ。
Rosa shook me. No, shook the corpse that had once been me. I watched over her from a short distance away. Ah, so I fell from there and died. the way Beatrice has her arms crossed, and I was like, ah, so that's what happened. My skull got shattered. So for a while, I believed that was true. I saw Rosa spend a long time beside my corpse and watched her as she ran away. Eventually, I realized that I was a different individual from that corpse. Youch. Oh, now she's regaining her memory. I am all of me?
ようやく金蔵の戒めから逃れられたのか。
Eventually, I felt the memory returning. The fact that I was an endless witch who had lived for 1,000 years, then I remembered that I'd been summoned by Kinzo, and that I'd been imprisoned by him for a long time. While being imprisoned in a cage of flesh, I completely lost my memory as a witch. However, thanks to Rosa, I could say that, thanks to my accidental death, I'd now finally regained myself. Rosa freed me from the abuse of Kinzo.
そなたはわらわを死なせてしまったと後悔しているだろうが、わらわにとっては感謝したいくらいよ。
Oh, actually, this makes me wonder why she takes it so badly when Maria talks about Beatrice. It's probably like, it probably fuels her paranoia that a ghost Beatrice is out for her, right? I couldn't see Rosa anymore. Did she go to call a doctor, or was she so terrified that she ran away? It no longer matters. That soulless shell no longer has any value. And yet, I'm so frail now. Even this glorious midday sun is agony to me. I destroyed my human form. Then I changed it into several gold butterflies. Yes, my magical power, as frail as it is now, this form is easier to maintain. To escape even a little from the light of the sun, I rode the wind and gently flew to the side of the cliff. It will probably be a bit cooler in the forest. Anyway, I'll take some time to recuperate and regain my former power, as I ponder how to make Kinzo pay up all he owes me. Dancing alone through the air, I looked down at the shore one more time. On the rocky shore, I laid the figure of what had once been me, the figure I would eventually regain. Imagine your daughter talking about an imaginary friend who is supposedly the girl you feel responsible for killing as a child. Yeah, that's probably a reason I can tell why Rosa takes it so badly when Maria talks about Beatrice in particular. Oh!
You go.
Danke! Thank you, babe. Dankeschön. My boyfriend just brought me some tea. The real life Ronove I talk about. To regain the form of that physical body I had thrown away. It would probably take more than 200 days, and it might require 1000 days or perhaps even more. However, I am the Endless Witch, the Golden Witch who has lived for 1000 years. Waiting an uncountable number of days would be no problem. Oh, Kinzo, regret that you are not here now. No longer will you be able to capture me. Cackle, cackle! She is free for a few years. Or like a few days even.
それで、お前は黄金の蝶に姿を変え、森の中に潜んで魔力が回復するのを待ったってのか？
そういうことだ。そなたを嘲笑するためにこの姿をとるが、本来は蝶たちの姿でいた方が魔力的には楽なのだ。
Oh wow, basically saying, I take the form of this beautiful woman just to spite you.
無理しねえで楽な格好で嫌がれよ。ムカつく笑い声を聞かずに済むぜ。
蝶に姿を変え森に紛れたわらわを探し出すことなどもはや金蔵には不可能なこと。だが金蔵も指を加えているわけではなかった。
Still, he was not immediately able to prepare a way to catch me. Oh shit.
そのためまずはわらわをこの島から逃さぬ方法、そしてわらわが力を取り戻すことがないよう
Oh, so that's
即座に手を打ったのだ。
Is that when the magic mirror comes in?
やれやれ、とにかく金蔵の執念深いことと言ったら想像を絶する。あれに惚れられるのもなかなかに辛いものだぞ。
Damn, that just sucks.
蝶になったお前を逃がさない方法？なんだよ。森全体に蚊帳でも張ったってのか？
Yes.
うん。それを魔法的に行ったのだ。そなたは知っておるか？船着き場の先の洋上に岩礁が浮かび、そこに小さな東洋魔術の祠があることを。
ああ、あれか。今年はなくなってたけどな。昔、修験者が作ってったとかいう祠なんだろ？
六軒島は元来、歪みのある島でございます。
Enveloped by the distortion,
魔力
okay?
的な存在や、それに類した存在を引きつけます。
Such as him?
お嬢様も、そんなうちのお一人でございましょうね。
Gesundheit?
紅茶のおかわりはいかがですか？
いただこうぞ。それらは人間たちに害をなし、おそらく数々の不気味なる伝承を残してきたであろう。それを聞きつけた東洋魔術師が古代に設けたのがあの祠なのだ。長い時間を経てその力を失われておった。金蔵はそれを修復することで島の結界を蘇らせ、 わらわを再び
西洋魔女のお前に東洋の魔法なんて通じるのかよ。
Yes, I guess
本来
magic
は
is
相性が
universal.
悪い。しかしわらわを封じたいという目的においてはある意味都合が良かっただろうな。わらわも西洋魔術であれば心得がある。どのような結界であっても何かの手が打てたであろう。しかし東洋魔術は専門外よ。わらわが飲まんとするスープに対しスプーンではなく箸を与えられたようなものだ。
Oh yeah, that's the explanation she gave to the magic soup. So, not the magic soup. I want to say the magic
空
mirror.
間では西洋魔術はひどく力を失います。ただでさえ千日はかけたであろう力、さらに長くかけねばならなかったのです。
それで約20年かけて魔力を取り戻し、今こうして蘇ったって言いたいのか？
Yes, but only after Shannon shattered the mirror.
辛く長い年月であった。わらわは黄金の蝶の姿のまま長く日々を送り、金蔵の屋敷を見つけ、奴の日常を見守った。どのように仕返しをしてやろうか、それを思案することだけを日々の楽しみに生きてきた。わらわにとって幸運だったのは、その間の20年間、金蔵はわらわを探し出し、捕らえるあらゆる秘術にことごとく失敗した点だったか。人間に起こせる奇跡の数などたかが知れている。
That is true.
わらわをあれだけ長く捕らえていただけでも十分に身に過ぎた奇跡だ。そう何度も捕らえられてはたまらぬわ。
じいさまが前のゲームだかで言ってたな。魔法は確率的奇跡に宿るみたいなことをよ。
うん。金蔵はわらわを再び捕らえる秘術を探るうちにそこに行き着いたのだ。そして13人の生贄を捧げることでわらわを再び蘇らせる儀式をついに編み出したのだ。
Oh, so that's where the murder plan hatched.
13人の生贄。
それが魔女の碑文。生贄
Gouge the
の
eye
歌
and
で
kill,
ござい
gouge
ま
the
す。
knee and kill.
第1の番に6人、第2の番に2人、そして第4の番から第8の番にかけて5人、合計13人の生贄を捧げる禁じられた儀式。その生贄はランダムに決められ、儀式を執り行う金蔵自身も例外にはなりません。
バカ野郎。
Yes, they were. Maybe the true culprit has been Kinzo all along. I'd had a vague idea that this might be the case, but I couldn't just hear that it was true from a witch and a demon and say, "Oh, really?" and accept it. Talk to your
六軒島
grandfather.
には18人いる。13人が生贄に捧げられ、5人だけが生き残る。そしてわらわは蘇る。つまり金蔵がわらわに再び会える確率はだいたい3分の1といったところか。その確率に自らの命を落とし、残りわずかな寿命の最後の一瞬にわらわとの再会を望んだのだ。
そのふざけた儀式のために俺たち親族が集められたってのかよ。
You would be surprised how much people do for their thirst and their
ふざけやがって
their unhealthy love obsessions.
いい加減なことを抜かすんじゃね
え。もとより契約の通りだ。金蔵の生を終えるとき、貸し与えた黄金と、そして金蔵が生み出した財産のすべてをわらは金蔵には散々に英雄を飲まされたが、今となってはこの1000年でも稀な時間だった。何しろ魔女の天敵は退屈よ。それから逃れることのできる数十年間を提供した金蔵には、なるほど、それも含めて借りがあるやもしれぬ。わらわは金蔵のゲームに乗ることにした。そしてまず 金蔵は後ろ宮家当主の指輪をわらわに返却する。わらわの黄金で復興させた家だからな。
fair.
そして13人の生贄を気まぐれに決めるのだ。そしてその過程でお前たちが右往左往し、わらわに立ち向かおうと様々な人間模様を見せてくれることは、わらわにとって非常に愉快なことだ。わらわはこの金蔵のゲームを実に気に入っている。
It's entertaining. It's for the funnies.
ああ
Jesus.
そんな魔法話は絶対信じねえぞ。じゃあお前は誰なんだ？お前は崖から転落して死んだんだろうが。
No.
魂が抜け出して蝶になって森へ？そんなのあるわけねえだろうが。だがお前はここにいる。誰だってんだ？お前こそが19人目じゃねえのかよ。
No. I mean, not that
そうだ
one.
な。わらわこそが19人目であろうな。だがダメだぜ。全然ダメだ。
Oh, it's red truth time? Let's go.
この六軒島に19人以上の人間は存在しない。
Oh shit!
なんだってってことは18人プラス X の X は存在しないってのかよ。
I knew this was coming at some point.
俺が取ったコマ X は存在しないってのかよ。
Yes, it's gone just like that. Poof!
そういうことになります。実にご愁傷様ですよ。
But wait a minute. What about the second baby?
しかし
What about Beatrice, the baby Beatrice?
もう少し泳がせて最後にひっくり返すものとばかり思っておりました。
Oh shit! Does that mean that if baby Beatrice did not die, is it possible that she's one of the 18?
さてバトラ様、紅茶のおかわりはもう結構ですか？
いらねえよチキショー。
Okay, this is getting very interesting.
俺は信じないぞ。18人の中に犯人がいるわけね。
I need to know if Beatrice too died or lived for this theory.
じゃあお前は何なんだよ。どうしてここにいるんだよ。
Take a wild guess.
19人目が存在しないってんならお前は18人の誰かの変装だって言うのかよ。
I think that's very plausible.
そなたにとってしぶしぶとではあっても18人の誰かを疑うことが最後の逃げ道。キャスリングとな。しかしわらわはここからが難しいのだ。そなたはなりふりさえ捨てれば18人もの人間を自在に犯人に仕立て上げられる。その18人の駒をくぐり抜けわらわを認めさせチェックメイトに至るのは実に難しいことよ。
Well,
そんなことするもんか。18人の誰も疑わない。
this shit again.
疑いたくない。
I'm so done with you, Battler.
チクショーチクショーチクショー。
三度に及んだそなたとのゲームもいよいよ終盤戦のようではないか。
That was the fastest game.
もう逃げ場はないぞ。お前の大好きな18人を疑いたくないだろう。わらわがそれをかぶってやるぞ。なのになぜわらわを拒むのか。序盤は本のように、中盤は魔術師のように、
And the last,
そ
like,
して終盤は機械のように
like a
させとな
machine.
これより詰めるぞ。ゆっくりじっくり確実にな。いや、それともそなたにふさわしく一気に畳みかけるのが良いのか。そなたにはそれが似合うだろう。そうしよう。すでにそなたの苦手とする攻め方も知り抜いておるわ。
Well, Jesus Christ, if I were you, Battler, I would cherry pick Kinzo out of that list. It drives me up a wall how Battler just refuses to learn. I hope he learns either by the end of this chapter or the next. Also, this looks like it's gonna be the first night. Oh, they are hitting it off! They're doing it! It's the ring time! Okay, so Eva wants to explore the secret mansion the next morning. Given that this chapter has seemed to hint that Eva is going to be on focus, my suspicion for this chapter is that Eva is going to be the adult who's going to be with us this time. I'm not sure if everyone else will die, because if they take Natsui too soon, I feel like they're taking away conflict from Eva too fast, because like Eva is pretty much always attacking Natsui. Like, she is still an obstacle to be the head of the family. So I believe, since this is going to be like Eva wants to show that she deserves to be the head, it would be kind of a waste of potential to kill Nazi here, but let's see what happens. Actually, I might even end the stream after this slideshow here, because I've already been streaming for 3 hours, and I think this looks like a good spot to end on. Oh! Hi! It's midnight. It's time for murder! It's also time for me to slowly go to bed. I don't want to stay up too late tonight. I got my boost appointment tomorrow. Oh, is something still happening this night? I hope not. Okay, this seems to be like an epilogue before the start of the game.
いずれにせよ、わしに残されたわずかの命をトスに値する実に楽しい歌
In his dimly lit study, occasionally brightened by lightning, Kinzo kept mumbling and laughing to himself. On the antique clock with the intricate design that had been sitting on his desk, two overlapping hands tilted to the right and began to slide. The measure of time that counted up to 24 had returned to 0 and had begun to count back again.
時の刻みとは残酷なものよ。24を数えるために1日をかけてたどり着き、そして再びゼロに戻る。
I'd say here's a good stopping point. Yeah, I thought I could finish this night, but it seems like Kinzo is going to go over a monologue, so I think I'll stop here after all. Okay. Yeah, let's finish for tonight. I don't think I could finish this scene in 20 minutes, so better cut it off here and then continue next time. So, okay, everybody. Opa. My microphone is kind of tilted. Okay, so I think this was a good spot to stop on. And I'll be finishing Umineko for tonight. Thank you for everybody who came. I hope you had a wonderful new year. And
Protesting in
I already... What did I want to say? I already posted the schedule for the rest for the next week, which will include a few streams that I'll be doing this month. This month there will be multiple streams on Tuesday and Thursday because you see, I wanna get the affiliate position on Twitch. So for January, expect more streams each Tuesday and Thursday. Take a look on Twitter for the schedules, for what I'll be doing, and you can prepare yourself for each day for what I'll have. Next Tuesday is an art stream, and next Thursday is Melty Blood for Aoko's release day for the DLC. That being said, thanks everybody for coming. I will be sleeping tonight, and have a nice night. Goodbye! Is it